Hello everyone, my name is Caden and welcome back to more Chaos at Noah. Last time, we did the Kazooie ending, which was, yeah. Let's just go with that, yeah. it was definitely an experience, that's for, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, this time to go get another ending. This time we are doing Sena's route. So we need to start chapter 3 here. It should be one of the first illusions, I think, that we get access to here. It's the one where it's going to say she actually swung her sword. Right? She actually swung. So we just need to do neutral here. Wow, this is the fastest we've gotten into it. Jeez. Alright. Please let me... Okay. Gotta pick that. If it's with this girl, I'm willing to get down on my knees, my hands and knees and beg with all my hearts. Okay. If given the choice, I prefer... I have a very ill feeling about what's going to happen in this route. Got nothing against a little sore... Shut up. She's gonna kill me with that sword either way. No. Alright. Soda flavored Garuguri-kun. That was what the achievement was called. You already know what's about to happen to Misumi. Bye, Misumi-kun. Goodbye, Dad. Bye. It'll never not be funny to me. I don't know why. Anyways, what was I doing? Oh yeah, it was like a popsicle flavor or whatever. I think it said it was grape flavored. Hello, remake. Soulless. So it says here that it'll branch into the into different story at chapter 7, so just gotta skip forward as always, and there should be at least one intermission. I think it says, actually, it says here that just one intermission should appear for Sena. After we do this ending, we're only gonna have 2 others remaining. We're actually getting real close to the end here. I don't know if Rimi's might actually take a while. Or, sorry, well, yeah, I don't know. Again, all I know is that we're getting close to the end here. We're actually almost about done with this game. I don't know if I'll go straight into Chaos Child, I think it's called. Because I know that there's a sequel to this game called Chaos Child. I do eventually want to get to it. Absolutely. I just don't know if I'm going to get... I need to hit skip here. I just don't know if I'm going to immediately get into it after this game. Or not. I might go play a different game and then come back to do the Chaos Child game later. I might just jump straight into Chaos Child. I don't know. I also might just want a little bit of time to play Last Defense Academy before I start up another series alongside it, just so I can build up videos that I can have of Last Defense Academy. Because Lord knows that game's going to take forever. That might actually be or very likely is going to be my longest series yet. Last Defense Academy, I mean. Because I'm going to try and get as much as I can, because I want to do a lot of stuff in the game. Anyways, is this going to change at all? Surprisingly not. I would have thought of all things to change, it would have been that. We're in chapter 4 now, I think. But yeah, it's kind of weird to think that we're almost done with this game. It's been a pretty long game, though, also. I don't remember how long I don't remember how long it was for me to beat, Steins Gate. I don't remember. I don't remember a whole lot, honestly. Anyways, still nothing regarding Santa. Well, actually, hang on. This might change. There might be something right around here. There's gotta be something relating... Like, the Sena intermission's gotta be soon, I feel. Unless it just happens only at the end. That'd be interesting. Aha! Here we are. I had a feeling. A solitary train car stood stock still near Shibuya Station. It was a car that was open to the public, with many referring to it as the Green Frog. Aoi Sena sat inside of it. Biting her thumbnail, she looked out the window and watched a passerby with disinterest. She and Nishijo Takumi had spoken at length yesterday on this very train, and today she had come here once again. She hadn't gone to school. Attendance was the least of her worries. She was constantly driven by feelings of impatience. As a result, she would often get very irritated with others, leading to her fairly harsh behavior towards them. Where the hell are you, Hatano? Her voice swelled with hatred, all of it directed toward a single individual. She dug a hand into her uniform pocket and took out a piece of paper. There's the formula. It was a small, crumpled scrap of paper torn from a memo pad. Written on it was something resembling an algebraic formula. The letters were faded and dull, perhaps due to aging, or perhaps due because it had been written in pencil. Only one part remained barely legible, and that was IR2. It was the scribblings of Sena's father from long ago. Needless to say, she didn't exactly treat it like a holy artifact. Instead, she simply kept it close so she could always remember the hatred she held for her father. Sena's family was once a happy one. However, the moment her father had scrawled a certain formula onto this piece of paper, slowly, silently, yet certainly, madness began to envelop everything. Wait, what? Sena's father had once been a corporate scientist. Sena had been just an elementary school student at the time, and while she did not understand the type of work her father did, she knew he was always busy. He was rarely home. Occasionally he would come home and show his affectionate side, but that almost never lasted even a day. He would be back to work before anyone knew it. It was not that she disliked her father, but she was a little disappointed to find that she could not think of a single time her family had ever sat down for a meal. Then came a day about 6.5 years ago, where her father returned home from work. Unlike his usual calm and collected self, he had been brimming with excitement.
Sena, your old man discovered something amazing. Something that reaches far beyond even a Nobel Prize.
What did you find so amazing?
This formula will change the rules we know, overthrowing the mechanism behind its very function. It's monumental.
As he spoke, he held a memo pad before Sena's eyes. Written on it was the IR2 equation.
I've spent so long searching for this. I hadn't come up with anything, no matter how hard I tried. Project Noah had slowed to a halt. It reached a deadlock. But with this formula, the project can advance on to the next phase. I never would have guessed it. It was in such a strange place. It feels like the divine light itself has blessed me. Right, Tokyo Station. I was just walking by. What are the odds? Have you seen Tokyo Station? The size of that place, it's enormous. There was essays on display in one corner of the station. It was an exhibition by the Ministry of Education showcasing essays from a nationwide writing contest. The essays were all written by excellent students. Did you know about it? Or perhaps did you apply?
I didn't know, but I think... I don't know.
If you had, I'm sure the judge would have adored your entry.
That's not true. I'm not very good at writing.
Is that what you think? Well, I think you should have more confidence in yourself.
Gunnar Processi? Was that the big discovery?
No, not the essay. The essay itself was of no consequence. The only important part is the scribbling on the back of the page. The essay was sitting in a clear plastic display, so you could see the back of the page through it. It likely wasn't specifically meant to be displayed like that, it just happened to be transparent. I'm absolutely certain that the event organizers never meant to show the back side of that essay. The odds of me finding the formula are astronomically slim. I wonder if this is what they call a miracle.
Like formula, you mean like math?
Yes, that's right. It's a very difficult mathematical formula.
Can you really change the world with math?
Yes, you really can. Everything about your old man's research involves changing the world.
Really? I don't know if I believe you.
Someday I'll prove it. Just you watch, Sena.
It had been over 6.5 years since that day. Gritting her teeth together, Sena shoved the paper back in her pocket. She gazed through the window, her eyes focused on a dull sky above. Undoubtedly, the world would change soon, just as her father had said. Sena's own world had already undergone many drastic changes. Vileness, havoc. Everywhere you looked, you would find more. It had become an unfathomably hideous place. A world like that can't be allowed to exist. I'll kill that bastard and stop it myself. Well, we get more context as to Sena's thing. Or whole deal. Hello. Evil Sena. Or, Sena? I meant to say Yua. My brain is mush. I probably will take a slight break from the chaos, from the... What's this series actually called? Like, this, series of games? It's Science Adventure series or something like that? It's something along those lines, I feel. The series name. But the point is, I'll probably take a little break from it, mostly because playing these games in quick succession, I realize takes a very strong strain on your mentality. To the point where I feel like I need at least one game break between them. These are not the kind of games that I feel like I should be playing back to back to back to back. I did it with Steins Gate, and I feel like I was going crazy for a little bit, but the point is, I'm gonna try avoid doing that again. So I'll more than likely try and do like one other playthrough of a different game after this, and then I'll jump back into Chaos Shot, or maybe I just won't do a second playthrough for a while, and then have the 100 line fill up the for the time between. I don't know. I'm explaining things badly. I just might not have a second playthrough go on. You know what? I'm gonna give up trying to explain because I'm terrible at this. Goodness gracious. I just gotta keep going, gotta keep going, gotta keep going. We're in chapter 5 now, are we? I don't actually remember. Two back-to-back delusions. Come on. There we go. I am very curious to see what ends up being the final ending. Because apparently you don't enter the final ending like the other ones. Apparently it should be something that's available on the main menu. But again, that's coming later. We still got this ending and then Rimi's ending to deal with. But we are starting to get close. In a way, it's kind of sad to me that we're getting close to the end of this. I don't know. This game's kind of just been a big thing on my mind for a very long time since ever since I ended up having that first playthrough of it that didn't exactly work out. Ever since that playthrough of it, this game has kind of just been on my mind a long time, so knowing that I'm actually going to be done with it soon is kind of sad, honestly. I just kind of gonna miss it in a way. Is that weird? It's probably weird. I guess I've just gotten so used to the game's existence. Is the game just always being a constant thought in my mind is going to be no longer the case. Unless I decide to immediately jump into Chaos Child. Which, again, don't know if I will. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Probably won't, but you guys also know how I am. I'm very much a person who can change on a whim regarding my decision. I just kind of go with the flow. If it feels like I suddenly want to do something, I try and usually do it. If I suddenly feel like I don't have the motivation for something, I kind of just fall apart. Evil to evil communication. Sorry about that. Anyways. I need to make sure I have the bad ending in here. Actually, no, I don't. I already know the ending pattern this time. Look at this hand. Da, 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 da. Look at this hand. Hello, Sena. Up we go. I feel like I just got flashbang like 5 times. Getting closer, getting closer. Do 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 do. As for which ending so far has been my favorite, it's definitely a tie between oh, hang on. Let me do this first. Yes, yes. No. No. Yes. Alright, there we go. I was just throwing my iPad on the ground because I don't need it for the rest of this episode. Go ahead and skip that. Alright, here we go. I swear I heard Takumi scream for like a split second. Anyways. What was I talking about beforehand? Oh yeah, my favorite ending so far. Obviously first one's pretty good. It's definitely gotta be a tie between Yua's and Kozue's at the moment, though. I don't know. Something about the way those ones ended. Same with the... You know what? I'll put the... It's a 3-way tie between the first ending, like the A ending, Kozue ending, and Yua ending. I'll put it as a 3-way tie between those. Those are my 3 favorites so far. But again, we still gotta see what Sena's, the final ending, and Rimi's endings are. I expect Rimi's to be the most... Let's go with psychologically confusing. Let's go with that statement, I think. I don't exactly know what that fully entails when I say that. That's the only word I can think of to describe it. Ow. Beat him up, beat him up, beat him. Hello, Kozue. Angie. I can't get over thinking about how you were a psychopath before. Speaking of psychopath things, bye. Bye, Takumi. Bye, Takumi. Hello, Takumi. I was just making sure I didn't pause the recording there for a second. Alright. Maybe things will change here. I don't know. Said after chapter 7 things should change. You know what? Screw it. I gave Takumi shit by making him get murdered in a delusion. I'll give him a break this time. There you go. You're gonna have a break this time. You win. Yep. Think it's about to happen. Up, I saw it. So, I think I saw what the title is, but I just want to make sure. The title of this chapter is Deus Ex Machina. That's a foreboding title. The 7th case. Is it the Dokyun? Nanami's case is the only one in which it was changed. Or Nanami's ending is the only one in which the murder was changed. In Nanami's ending, there was... One of the endings became the, I suddenly can't remember. I don't actually remember what the ending on Nanami was. I know it was different. I just can't for the life of me remember. Dominatrix. That's what it was. That's what the ending was called. Anyways, all this dialogue seems to be the same. I don't understand why this dialogue doesn't get skipped, because I've been keeping an eye on it, on each ending, but it seems to be the same. So evidently it should be skipped. Like every time it says, oh, I checked my pocket, Kazupi been carrying it, person killed the 3, shows the flashback of Kazupi holding her sword, and then it flashes back. No. Definitely not. I've been cut in half, the kept us over. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't skip these when these are the same lines. Like, I don't understand why. I feel like, wait, I think like this is dial. What have I done to deserve this? So I had to find someone else who I could rely on to protect me. And the first person that came to mind was Sena. If you continue down this path, whether you desire it or not, your consciousness must be strong enough to create positive from negative. If you don't, if you half-ass it, your delusions will devour you from within. Oh, Sena. Yesterday, when the two of us had gone to our separate ways, she'd given me that piece of advice. She definitely knew something. She also had a D-sword, and she seemed pretty strong too. Would she be my savior? If not, I was doomed. Alright. Now Sena is the hope. The following day, I made my way to the front of the station. In all honesty, I really didn't want to go back there. After all that dramatic Esper BS, the front of the Shibuya station brought back nothing but bad memories. Adding to my stress, just like usual, there were way too many people. The area around Hachiko was absolutely infested with normies loitering around. Everyone kept glancing at me and sneering as they pointed their phones at me. But when I turned around to look away, my eyes wandered up toward this towering O-front, the very building where I committed social suicide only a few days ago. Videos covering every angle of that night continue to make the rounds on the internet, and they would likely continue to spread across the world for all eternity. Erasing them was pretty much impossible at this point. I was going to spend the rest of my life as the internet's favorite punchline. I was so frustrated, angry, and sad. It made me want to get as far away from it as I possibly could. But knowing Shoyam would kill me at the second I tried to escape, I was forced to painstakingly stand my ground. I cautiously stepped foot into the train carriage known as the Green Frog, trying my hardest to avoid looking at my surroundings. Here she is! Unsurprisingly, there she sat, Aoi Sena, the train's sole passenger. It took me a minute, but I realized that the reason why no one else was in the car was likely due to Sena's own handiwork. She used her gigalomaniac powers, or whatever they were. You again. Did you locate any errors? Shaking my head lightly, I handed her the crunchy-kun I brought in advance from the local convenience store. It was my way of getting my foot in the door. Here, I know it's not much, but I hope you like it. Oh, no, please, don't worry about it. Thank you very much. And that's how it would go, all according to this stupid-ass Japanese custom. But even though I knew it was idiotic, not even I would stoop as low as to ask for protection without giving something in return. As payment for her services, I would give her 3 crunchy-kuns a day. It was an offer even Sena couldn't refuse. For me. Thanks. She accepted with surprisingly little resistance. Everything was going according to plan. What favor do you get, Nishijo? For me, it's soda or nothing. Sena excitedly tore open the wrapping and took out the popsicle. It might have just been my imagination, but it almost looked like her mouth had curved into a slight smile. Man, just how obsessed with those things are you? You're practically asking for a stomachache. Mine's coal flavor. Excuse me. Coal flavor's heresy. Burn hell. Damn. Damn, what the... Sorry. I made her mad. I thought about telling her off for getting upset over something so trivial, but I figured I'd better keep my mouth shut. Cola. Burn in hell. That was a wild jump. Anyway. Taking a bite out of her crunchy-kun, Sena shifted her probing gaze to me. What do you want? Why'd she have to be so intimidating? The look in her eyes could turn me to stone. All I wanted was to ask for help, but it felt like the sheer anxiety alone was going to kill me. It's already bad enough talking to 3D girls as it was. I took a few deep breaths and barely managed to calm myself down. I want you to help me. What's that supposed to mean? I'm being targeted by the new gen culprit. I told you about him before, remember? That Shogun guy. I know for a fact that he's reading my mind. He can read minds. What is he? Like, I know, that's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. People in Shibuya can read minds. That can read minds are far and few between. They could either be a gigalomaniac, or perhaps the people at Nozomi. Nozomi? Nozomi Technology. A company is trying to control the world using Project Noah. What was she on about? It sounded like some kind of conspiracy theory, but could Shogun be a member of that organization? Help me, please. I'm begging you. I felt myself rapidly sinking further into despair. I want something, anything to cling on to. Something that would save me. Sena took another bite of her crunchy-kun, then furrowed her brow. I already told you. If you keep going, but half-ass it, your delusions will devour you from within. Knowing that, do you have the resolve to move forward? No way. Of course I'm not. That's why I'm asking you to help me. I can't take this anymore. Why does it always have to be me? Sapped of all my willpower, I fell to my knees. Don't do this to me. Just protect me. What do you want me to do? I don't want to do anything anymore. So, you don't have any resolve? I felt her cold glare pierce through me. I could clearly tell just how pathetic I was being, so all I could do at that point was just hang my head in shame. This Shogun person bothers me. If they're from Nozomi, does that mean they're one of the people behind Mugen? If so, I can't ignore it. With a frown, Sena muttered that to herself as she looked out the window. She seemed to be in deep thought, but she kept chewing on her crunchy-kun regardless. Hello? Not long after I said something, Sena suddenly got up from her seat. She was now standing in front of me. You want me to protect you? Damn it, was she looking down at me? Does this bitch have a domination? Despite her insulting her in my head, I gave her a meek nod. In other words, this will mean working together from now on. Is that alright with you? As long as you protect me, anything's fine. Protecting myself from Shogun's attack was my highest priority right now. If you'll really protect me, then no. I don't have any objections. It's out then. Sena extended her hand toward me. I stared blankly at those delicate fingers of hers, unsure what they were trying to convey. Growing impatient, Sena grabbed my hand and pulled me up. Our eyes met, if only for an instant. Having our gazes intertwined at such a short distance made me frantically avert my eyes. She didn't let go of my hand. Alright, let's move. And then, as if to spur me onward, turned her back to me. Move where? To Nozomi Technology's head office. What? We're going to infiltrate it. Infiltrate? Like into the enemy base? No, what? What was this stupid bitch thinking? Did she have a death wish? Well, this was game over. God, I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on her. Like, how I was going anywhere near there. I want nothing to do with this. I wasn't the kind of person who just waltzed right in on my death. I was the type of person who tells someone, wow, that plan fucking sucks, and then ditch them. Ignoring my look of disbelief, Sena strolled briskly out the door. However, I, meanwhile, stayed right where I was, refusing to budge an inch. Suddenly, I realized I could no longer move my arms. I glanced down at my body. Before I could even... Oh, God. White chain had coiled around my body, and on top of that, it was wrapped around me very, very tight. Even when I tried to force it off, it refused to budge an inch. Who the... When the... What the... How did this even happen? Stop wasting time. Sam poked her head out of the window, then urged me to come quickly. I felt the chain wrapped around my body being tugged. I tried to resist, but I no longer had full control of my body. Well, this is great. Chain led outside the train carriage and ended where it reached Sena's hand. He was holding it. She was the one pulling me. This is what a queen slave exhibition simulation roleplay is like. I see. Wait, no, it's nothing like that. What the fuck? God damn, I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on Sena. I could have picked the wrong person for this. Someone help me. I can't take this anymore. I'm sorry, this is too funny to me. The imagery of Takumi just being dragged along. Nozomi's main branch was apparently within walking distance of Shibuya Station, but my mental strength had already been completely drained before we even reached it. After all, Sena had been parading me around right smack in the middle of Shibuya. It went without saying that practically every cell phone in existence had been pointed at me. With that, my dark past had grown even darker. There was definitely a thread about it on that channel by now. Esper Nishijo indulging in puppy play with black-haired Byu in Shibuya. Jokians were never going to let me hear the end of this. No matter how much I plead with Sena, she refused to remove the chains. Right now, it's imperative that you stand out as much as possible. This is doing just that, don't you think? She's constantly spouting all sorts of nonsensical reasoning like that. Seriously, what kind of bullshit logic was that? Anzai-sensei, I want to be a man who stands up from the crowd. Had I asked her anything like that? No, I fucking hadn't. What? Quote from a famous basketball manga. Users parodied a certain quote from the manga in order to express a desperate desire. Anzai-sensei, I want to blank. Often another off-quoted line. This one spoken by Anzai-sensei is, if you give up, it's game over. Oh, what the... Oh, wait, these are the swords. The excessively violent design of Kozue's sword represents the very soul of Kozue, who has no mercy for those who seek to harm her. Kozue is small and weak, so as a result of her intense desire for power to protect herself, she materialized a gigantic weapon that was the exact opposite of her physique. In addition to its size, it is specialized for combat. It automatically provides a target based on Kozue's will, then draws the most efficient trajectory to demolish it. This is why, whenever Kozue wields a sword, it appears as if the sword is swinging her around. Dahlia, Ayase's D-sword, with its complete and utter absence of straight lines, represents the true embodiment of chaos. When Ayase materialized the sword, she modeled it after a mythical dragon, which is why the sword takes on a far more organic form than the other D-swords. The dragon appears in the severed verses of the Lone Black Knight, a part of the Gladial saga in which one of the Black Knights slays a dragon, then forges a sword from its bones. Rose. To be precise, it is not Kusunoki Yua who wields the sword, but Kusunoki Miya. It is characterized by the red petals that dance in the air whenever it is rebooted. This symbolizes the complex Miya held with her sister Yua, where she felt as if Yua had everything she lacked: elegance, femininity, and kindness. There's a Japanese phrase that reads, falling as flowers do, that is used to reference those who die young, often in battle or in some other tragic manner. As per this phrase, Mia's sword also symbolizes her deep mourning for her sister's death, for her own erasure of the existence known as Kusunoki Miya, and the repose of both of their souls. Aconitum, the memory of her bangle, the symbol of her love for her brother, taken shape as a blade. That is Nanami's D-sword. Influenced by her strong desire to not let anyone else have it, even the hilt itself is made of blades. This makes it impossible for even other Giglomaniacs to hold or wield the sword. Interesting. It's interesting that we can actually see descriptions of all the D-swords here. Snowdrop, Dahlia, Rose, and Aconitum. We even have Neuroses, Gentiana Scabra. Showing right into the enemy base. What the hell was she thinking? We could be killed at any moment. Completely ignoring my complaints, Sena casually entered the fancy building, dragging me right along with her. After all, the chain had given me no choice in the matter. Well, this is going to be interesting. The grandeur of the expansive lobby standing before me took my breath away. The Nozomi Group. It had apparently become one of Japan's leading conglomerates. A place like this was so far removed from the life of a student like me, it felt like a completely different world. I'd never set foot in a building quite like it before. The size of the lobby, the practical enshrinement of the hot grills at the reception desk. I had to take a moment to breathe. Wait, we were in a company workplace. Shouldn't it have been off limits to unauthorized personnel? Bosei and I were wearing Suime uniforms, so we were very obviously high school students. Not only that, but I was wrapped up in a chain too. We were practically screaming that we were intruders. For Sena to disregard this and enter the building like she owned the place, I began to doubt her sanity. The moment we entered through the automatic doors, I made eye contact with one of the receptionists. Let's go back. I was hesitant to go any farther than we already had, but Sena didn't stop moving. Stop worrying. And we moved past the reception desk and head toward the elevator in the back, and nobody had said a word to us. What the hell? Oh, okay. Sena didn't get on the elevator, though. Instead, she chose to go for the fire escape near the hall. Beyond the door was a dimly lit emergency staircase, and that was where she finally stopped. Everyone in the building is convinced that we're Nozomi employees. Suddenly, before I could even blink, the pressure on my body disappeared. When I looked down, I saw that the chain around me had vanished without a trace. And the next thing I saw was a D-sword in Sena's hand. Was that chain just a delusion Sena had real booted using her Gigalomaniac powers? So Sena had set anti-particles into my dead spots, this time making the real boot chain instantly disappear? Why would they think we're Nozomi? Because I made them. Them being everyone that observes us. She made them. She could do that? Sena then looked up at the top of the staircase. Something resembling a surveillance camera was installed there. It had a red light affixed to it, and it let out an eerie sound as it surveyed the room. Can you make the cameras believe it too? Maybe if I tried to. I never tested before. Either way, there's no need to. Why not? Won't they catch us? This is ridiculous. Destroying the cameras is one of the first things you should do in any stealth mission. Everyone knows that. Well, everyone who played a video game before, at least. I already told you, you need to stand out. That's exactly what I don't get. Why aren't you contradicting yourself? You made them assume we're Nozomi employees in order to camouflage, but then you turn around and say you need to stand out. Which is it? What exactly are you trying to do? All everyone ever does is speak in riddles. Do they all think I'm an idiot or something? What do you all think to yourselves? Even if I try to explain, you won't get it. You are, aren't you? Fuck you. Damn it, I'm smart, people. My IQ is absolutely... My IQ is the highest among all of Reddit. Now, as I bit my lip in frustration, Sena took off on her own up the stairs, leaving me behind to continue seething. Does this girl have any actual interest in protecting me? No, she didn't. After all, she already put me in harm's way by dragging me into this building. Regardless of her intentions, I just wish she'd stop rushing ahead on her own. She could at least tell me where she was going and what she was trying to do. Just give me some sort of explanation, please. Why were we using the staircase instead of the elevator anyway? I sucked at exercising. Riding the elevator would be suicide. Sena's voice rang out from above me. Had she read my mind again? With a sigh, I started heading up the stairs toward her voice. Sena was waiting 2 stories above me. As soon as I caught up, she started climbing again. If we rode the elevator inside the enemy HQ, we'd just end up getting cornered, wouldn't we? I suppose that's true. More importantly, Nichijou, tell me more about the Shogun. When did they initially start coming after you? About a month ago. And you've talked with them before, correct? When I nodded in response, Sena stopped dead in her tracks and looked down at me from a few stairs above. Shut. What did they say? A lot of things. I took a moment to tell Sena about everything Shogun had said to that point, as well as the fake kidnapping he'd staged to try and scare me. Does the name Hatano ring a bell? No? Shogun might have mentioned him. Think harder. Hatano. I never heard that name before. Who is Hatano? The man affiliated with Project Noah. I didn't know him. I didn't even know what Project Noah was. Fine. If you don't know, then forget it. Sena turned away in a huff and resumed her climb in silence. There's still more? We've gone up at least 20 stories with the next to no breaks. I probably never climbed so many stairs in my entire life. I was exhausted. I didn't want to climb anymore. Sweat trickled down my forehead, stinging at my eyes. I wiped it off over and over again with my hand, but it continued to bead no matter what I did. My legs felt heavy. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was going to suffocate. I planted my hands on my knees in an attempt to catch my breath. Drops of sweat fell from my hands, my face, and dotted the floor. How much farther? The presidential office is apparently on the top floor. Floor 31. 10 more floors to go. Hold up, why was I even going along with this in the first place? All I done was ask Sena to protect me, so why was this happening? Someone's face appeared in the back of my mind. Am I having a stroke? What does that say? No refs? What? Yeah, I got nothing. My heavy breathings reverberated throughout this quiet staircase. Surprisingly, Sena didn't try to go ahead after I caught up this time. Instead, she'd lean against the wall and stare at me with a blank expression on her face. It seemed like she was finally letting us take a short break. Mounted above Sena was another one of the security cameras. They're installed on every floor. There's no way they hadn't found out we've been climbing the staircase by now. Security guards could arrive at any moment. The reason I didn't tamper with the security cameras earlier. Suddenly, Sena began to murmur something. It's because if the Shogun is a member of Nozomi, he'd be in this very building. I thought we could lure him out. So what you're saying is you're using me as bait. Yeah, that's right. I initially had no interest in Nozomi. Even deciding to infiltrate this building was an irregularity. I obviously planned to destroy Project Noah at some point, but now isn't the time. I have something else that takes priority. She's become awfully talkative all of a sudden. Was she finally going to explain why we were here? But Sena didn't reveal what that something was. From what you have told me, the Shogun knows something. It can even be something about Hatano. For a split second, her face stiffened upon saying that name. Were they really that terrible of a person? Relax, Nishijo. You're getting something out of this too. In exchange for you being the bait, I'll protect you. And also, you want to learn the Shogun's identity, right? To eliminate the threat, you need to go to the offense. Sena abruptly stopped. She then frowned, stepped away from the wall, and readied her gigantic D-sword, right in the middle of this narrow, cramped stairway. What's going on? Sena didn't answer. She peered down the stairwell and then up, only to freeze in place. That voice. Where is it coming from? A voice? Who the hell are you? She suddenly shouted. I thought she might have been shouting at the security camera, but her gaze was directed farther upward, toward the ceiling. Couldn't be. I had a bad feeling about this. Unable to resist the bait, I looked up at the ceiling. Naturally, there was nothing there. After all, I couldn't hear the voice, but I had a good idea of what it was. Shogun. He was reading our minds using some satellite way up in the sky, and he was making Sena hear some kind of voice. Sena, don't listen to that voice. Sena! I promptly grabbed a hold of her shoulders and shook her. Doesn't seem like the Shogun is a part of Nozomi. I was right. She had heard Shogun's voice. You've been tricked. He's an enemy. Don't believe anything he said. I hear something. Huh? My hands were still gripping her shoulders. She responded by grabbing my wrist tightly. Her nails dug in deep, shooting pain throughout my entire body. My face twisted and... I hear something. Be careful. Oh, crap. Uh-oh. A flash of light burst into my head, and from that light an image came forth. A dark room, a puddle of blood staining the floor, a modern art piece resembling that of a crucifix. Someone was bound there, with their head lifelessly hanging down. Their clothes stained in blood, their right hand cruelly severed. I'd seen it. I'd seen it clearly. That was without a doubt. Nami. Nami's here. Somewhere in this building. She had been kidnapped by Shogun. Her wrist. That wasn't a delusion, it was real. I had to find her. I wasn't able to stay here before, and now Sena was suffering too. So I had to find her. This time for sure I had to do something. Calm down, Nishijo. The likelihood of this being a trap is... Just a minute ago, you also believed that what Shogun said, didn't you? I finally shook Sena's hands off me. The presidential office was on the 31st floor. Seriously, listen to sound. It's different. It's a different delusion than Shogun's interference. I ignored her and sprinted up the stairs. There's no time to complain about my exhaustion. I was desperate. Nami was suffering. It was all my fault. All my fault. I failed her back then. I'd run away. She must resent me. Forgive me. I'm a pathetic excuse for an older brother. Damn it. I wanted power. I wanted a D-sword like Sena's. Why? Why couldn't I get my hands on one? It was all I asked for. Nanami, don't die. I'm begging you. Oh boy, are we actually gonna see it? Oh no. I made it to the giant 31st floor, and there was only one entrance to it. Wasting no time, I flung it open and dove straight through. And just like that, I was in the very same room I saw in the vision. Several monitors hung from the ceiling, each displaying the word Nozomi on a white background. I looked all over for Nanami. The room was so dark I couldn't make out anything clearly, but...
Nanami.
Nanami? There were no signs of life. No movement. No breathing. Nothing at all. Nishijo! Chasing after me, Sena flew through the open door. She forcefully grabbed my hand. We're getting out of here, now. This is a trap. Nanami is... Can't you hear the sound? Suddenly the door that we'd left open slammed shut all on its own. The room grew even darker. Shit! Sena ran to the door and rested with the knob, but it refused to budge. Then, the outline of the D-sword in her hand suddenly faded to nothing. It was almost as if it had completely dissolved. We've been locked in. Can you just get us out using your powers? I can't form delusions properly. Sena's face twisted. She rubbed her temples and weakly shook her head. I was getting a headache. I only noticed when I regained my focus. It wasn't severe by any means, but the minor, faint pain. It seemed to reverberate from the very center of my head. An ache that throbbed and throbbed and throbbed. I feel kind of lightheaded. Nanami, where are you? Is this one of Shogun's traps? Is Shogun my ally? What kind of company is Nozomi Technology? What? Who's Atano anyway? Weird. I'm losing my train of thought. We're being hit with biorhythmical attacks. Display on two of the monitors overhead suddenly changed. In place of the Nozomi logo, the faces of two middle-aged men appeared, one on each monitor.
My word, the youth these days know no fear. Of course, that is meant entirely in a negative sense.
Indeed. Perhaps as a result of the lax education system you implemented, Mr. Inohana.
I was merely executing the plan as specified by the Committee 300. As a single link within the chain of the Worldwide Human Domestication Project was a serviceable program.
What's going on here? Who are these people? The fact that you were the one you were also the one to shut down proved quite amusing. I imagine that fell quite outside the Committee 300's expectations.
Yes, Mr. Kuramuchi. Ignorant to our ambitions, they fully intend to rule the world without a shred of opposition. To them, such an action served as a declaration of war.
Conquering the world does not require the power of 300. The two of us are more than enough. What are these two talking about? Then, right as I was thinking that, the two men on the monitors turned their stares to me. Less in the matter of sight. Another win exactly according to Nerosi's predictions. I never would have thought anyone would be foolish enough to wander directly into our nest.
If we were to leave him here for a week, they would grow far too debilitated to resist. After which, I will return and treat ourselves to a rousing torture show.
We've already collected and stored Hatano Sena's code sample in our database. Hatano Sena? Who was that? We'd be better off brainwashing her. Once that is done, shall we make her our soldier?
I propose we not only make her a soldier, but her plaything as well. Slaving our own little gigalomaniac girl sounds like an even better option.
I see your tastes are just as refined as mine, Mr. Inohara.
Well then, our dear little gigalomaniacs, please enjoy your confinement to the fools.
1 week from now, Project Noah will have brought a drastic change upon the world. You have my greatest sympathies for not being able to bear witness to the moment of reform. The old man disappeared from the monitors, and the room was covered in darkness once again. It had been a trap. It had all been a trap. To think two grown men, one of which I was sure was a member of the House of Representatives, would join forces just to trap some random otaku freak like me. This couldn't be real. It had to be a fucking joke. Nanami wasn't here. She'd been in prison somewhere else. I felt absolutely pathetic for playing right into their hands. If I'd known this would happen, I would have just listened to Sena.
Being the form of the founder of the Cosmic Church in the Fine Light, a member of the Diet, would both be a part of the Committee of 300.
Sena slammed her shoulder against the entrance again and again, but it refused to give in. It had probably been locked from the outside, and seeing as it was extremely sturdy, trying to bust it open was likely impossible. Committee of 300? If I remember correctly, wasn't that the name of that organization which occasionally popped up in conspiracy theories? Did it actually exist? If you think about it, all adds up. After all, the Committee of 300 were the ones who originally found the theory of silent weapons. What was that Project Noah thing those old guys were just talking about? Having given up, Sena stepped away from the door in defeat. She surveyed the dimly lit room with a sullen expression. It's a silent weapon development program that Nozomi Technology has been pursuing. Silent weapon? To put it in layman's terms, it's a mind control device that operates over an extensive range. Mind reading, visual projection, and control over the 5 senses. It doesn't harm you physically. It has no sound, color, or scent, and it's invisible to the naked eye. However, it is sure to slowly and quietly contaminate the minds of the masses. Silent weapons can be executed without anyone noticing. Isn't it just like the power of Gigalomaniacs? Of course, silent weapons originate from the idea of artificially creating Gigalomaniacs, of course. It was also insane that it didn't even feel real. In the end, that was just the way things were. I was no hero. Even if I was told that an insane conspiracy such as that were true, and it was currently unfolding in Shibuya, I wouldn't feel the slightest urge to stand against it. Even if I were to go out and fight, I wouldn't be of any help to anyone. I'd just leave it to someone else who was actually useful. Maybe, just maybe, the Nugent incidents, as well as the endless string of bizarre events that have been plaguing me, were all related to this Project Noah. If that was the case, I would need to leave Shibuya as soon as possible in order to protect myself. All I wanted was for Nanami to be safe, me to be safe, and for us to live in peace. That's all I wished for. For that to happen, I needed to find a way out of here. I couldn't stand the thought of being stuck in a place like this for upwards of a week, especially with there being no signs of food or water anywhere. Oh, so that's what those old guys have been talking about. If we didn't eat or drink for an entire week, we'd inevitably start to break down. Worst case scenario, we could even die. Sena, we'll find a way to get us out of here. The door won't open. Sena looked utterly exhausted. What about your T-sword? For some reason, I can't summon it. My powers are being blocked. This is a silent weapon attack, Nishijo. Silent weapon attack? The hell? Are you saying there's no way out? Sena, with a look of pure exhaustion, slumped down to the floor. Are you okay? Damn it. My body feels so heavy. And there's some kind of weird feeling. Like my chest is being constricted. Her breathing shallow. Hey! In the dark, I could see that her skin was drenched in sweat. Spires. Hey! Hey, do you have any water? Of course I didn't, but I was getting thirsty too, and fast. Thoughts of spending a full week in this heat without a drop of water made me feel utterly hopeless. Sam was staring fixedly at me. I knew there was no way I'd be able to maintain eye contact with 3D girl, so I desperately looked away. But I could still feel her gaze piercing through me. Don't look. No, I don't. When I answered, I took a quick glance at Sena. Our eyes met. Hold on, what was up with those shimmering eyes of hers? She almost looks like a love-struck maiden or some shit. Well, I was both. Panic, I turned my back to Sena and gulped down my building saliva. What is this? Careful, Nishijo. They might be manipulating our emotions. Huh? What do you mean? When I look at you, I feel an unbearable longing. Damn it, what the hell kind of attack is... So the attack involved making Sena feel like she'd fallen in love with me. Or it could be that she'd already had feelings for me to begin with. Yeah, no way in hell. Use your brain talking to me. What the hell are they using? To manipulate our emotions. In the end, human emotions are nothing but electronic signals flowing through our brains. Technology to interfere with those signals
It's being researched all over the world. In the worst case scenario, it may have already been put into practice, and if we're being hit by a silent weapon, like Noah 2, doing so would be child's play. Do you get it now? This is what I meant back when I said the world was an electronic device. Does that mean it's like a program? Lines of ones and zeros. It'd be incredibly easy to tamper with something like that. It's a scientifically proven fact that electronic signals run through our brains, so in reality, not only our emotions, but both the mind and the soul are reducible to mere electronic signals. Wait a sec, that's no different from 2D, is it? For example, let's look at Aaron from Eroge, Liesel from ESO, the anime version of Serta and Sena. What's the difference between the four of them? If what Sena says about everything in the world being an electronic device is true, then there are no differences. They're all the same, mere electronic signals running through a device. I felt like I finally, albeit vaguely, understood why Sena had used the word error. If all of this was true, then this Noah 2 weapon would be like some super deadly virus, or someone using cheats in order to PK. Not even Neihart could win against those kinds of people. And not only that, but compared to Neihart, I was a ridiculously shitty playable character. So in the end, being trapped here and starving to death like a pathetic loser? Well, that was a pretty fitting game over for me. It's not my fault. I'm playing Deathclad because of the person controlling me. It's all their fault. Fuck my life. Cradling my head, I curled into a ball. Oh, great. Around 28 hours had passed since we'd first gone locked in here. During that time, I had dozed off and lost consciousness countless times. I had been overwhelmed by a surge of uncontrollable emotions, with depression, mania, and other similar feelings leaving me mentally exhausted. Sena and I hadn't said a single word to each other the entire time. She'd pretty much been completely and entirely useless ever since we'd gotten locked up, really. The final ray of hope was the PC. Aside from the ones that showed the detestable faces of the Diet member and that religious founder, there were a ton of other monitors decorating the room. And every one of them was connected to a single PC. Since the PC was connected to the internet, I tried posting a bunch of SOS messages on various boards. But it had all been in vain. I hadn't been able to post anything at all. The PC could have downloaded just fine, but uploading was completely throttled. Any attempts at sending chat messages or emails was quickly snuffed out. Under the orders of some of those two old guys, someone, somewhere, had to have been watching us. But why were they letting us access any information at all? I'd soon learn the answer to that question. A few hours after starting to gather info online, I checked the article tabs of Taboo on a whim. Riots break out at Shibuya's Scramble Crossing. An article with that title caught my eye. Immediately after that, it happened. Yep, here we go. It all began with a tremor from below. The floor. No, the very building itself started to shake violently. At the very next moment, I was struck with a violent ringing in my ears. It was such an intensely shrill, resonant sound, my head felt like it was about to burst open. I looked at Sena, who was covering her ears in agony. And then, a thunderous roar. The entire building thrashed around violently, as if the world itself was trying to make a gigantic milkshake. Unable to stay upright anymore, I tumbled over, and my back crashed against the wall. Sena was crouched down in the center of the room, curled into a ball. And above her head, the monitor fixed to the ceiling was swaying back and forth like a pendulum. The world suddenly went into slow motion. The swing of the monitor slowed. With a dull sound, the aluminum pole holding the monitor snapped. And it fell down, ever so slowly, towards Sena. It was a feeling I experienced once before. Exactly when Ayase had jumped off the school roof. She was going to die. If that giant monitor fell on her head, Sena would die. I couldn't make it in time. There were roughly 5 years between us. Besides, I didn't have the courage to risk my life to save a 3D girl anyway. Even so, a delusion flared to life inside my head. In that delusion, I kicked off the shaking floor, bolted over to Sena, and threw my arms around her in a magnificent save. And all of that happened in an instant. In just the blink of an eye, my body teleported over to Sena, threw its arms around her, and tumbled to the floor. The sound of the monitor crashing to the ground echoed right beside my ear. Even though the room had been so dark before, my field of vision was dyed white. I Along with the ear-splitting sound of an explosion, I was slammed with an even greater impact than before. And with that, my last sort of consciousness was severed. How long had I been out? My consciousness drifted in and out of a deep slumber. I felt a ticklish, slightly annoying tingle on the tip of my nose, and upon noticing that faint, ever so slightly warm sensation, I slowly opened my eyes. Hi. Santa's face was only a few inches from mine. Her long hair draped over my cheeks. Her faint breaths blew right against my nose. Her eyes were closed, but her eyelashes were quivering. She must have only lost consciousness. We were really close. No. I tried to scare away, but my body wouldn't move. And that was when I finally realized exactly what had happened. Keeping my head completely still, I tried to survey my surroundings, but it was pitch black. I couldn't make anything out. It felt like a thin film had been draped over my field of vision. But there was no film. It was just a cloud of dust. We had been buried in rubble. So it wasn't that I couldn't see around me. It was that there were any gaps in the rubble at all. No matter what direction I looked, I couldn't find a single opening. We had been lodged into an extremely cramped pocket of space beneath the rubble. Whenever I tried to force my hands or legs to move, I would hear the sound of pebbles crumbling to the ground. That sound made me realize I couldn't move or do anything at all. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. Had there been an earthquake or something? Shibuya had experienced a lot of those recently, but maybe they'd all been foreshocks. If so, this could have been the biggest earthquake to hit Tokyo since the Great Kanto earthquake. Did that mean that the Nozomi building had collapsed? The terrorist attack that had happened in America several years back came to mind, bringing an intense wave of hopelessness with it. The fact that we hadn't been injured yet, despite being stuck in a crevice, was probably nothing more than an insane stroke of luck. Yet being the key word. The rubble was just barely holding itself together, maintaining an extremely delicate balance. I had no way of making sure, but it was definitely possible that dozens of tons of debris were piled on top of us. If I made a single wrong move, that balance would be lost, and then that massive pile of rubble would crush us in less than a second. Imagining that as my last moment, I instantly froze in fear. I didn't want to die. I couldn't handle the idea of being crushed to death in a place like this, where nobody would ever know. Hurry up and rescue me. Rescue squad, it's self-defense force. I don't care who, just get me out of here. I tried straining my ears to see if I could hear any people around, but there was nothing but silence. A deafening, eerie silence. All I could hear was the sound of Sena's breathing. Damn it, sleep like a goddamn baby, why don't you? Sena was lying sprawled on top of me. Her body's... Okay. Hey! She's heavy. Slender legs... Oh, God. Now I smell something sweet. Perhaps because of the crunchy coon she was always eating. Perhaps where it's deep and steady. They followed a distinct rhythm. And each time she breathed, she... Hey. It was some kind of torture. Why is this music playing? This is not the appropriate music. This is the goober music. This is not... What? Attack of this magnitude would cause all sense of reason within me to crumble in 5 minutes tops. I need to wake her up somehow in order to avert the crisis. Wait, I'd have to wake her up. Would it be right for me to do that? I mean, if I woke her up and she saw stay again, how would she react? She was the same girl who regularly scouted people, at everyone and everything, so even though it was an accident far beyond my control, there was no doubt in my mind she'd let me be a pervert anyway. Considering she wouldn't be thinking clearly, there was a very real possibility that she might even rip out my throat. And at this distance, taking Sane's position into account, not only could she easily do that, but I would be completely defenseless against it too. That was probably a bit too extreme to be realistic, but if Sena really were to wake up in a panic, she could very well end up causing the rubble to collapse on top of us, and that'd be the end of it. What the hell was I supposed to do? If I could have ripped out my hair, I would. Since I obviously couldn't do that, I resorted to banging the back of my head against the rubble. Through that, I was able to suppress my instinctual...
What is going on?
Do not pay this wench any heed. I drive these worldly desires from my mind. I am not as stuck up bitches like her. I won't give in. Mustn't give in. I can't get... No. 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 You idiot. No. Okay, so how do I aim for... Wake up, Sena. Starlight, cut off the delusion inside my head. Sena's voice leaked out of her mouth, mixing in with her breath. It was quiet as a whisper. Her voice was so soft and frail, I would never have imagined it come from someone who was normally so fierce and unapproachable. Dad. Her eyes were still closed. It didn't seem like she'd woken up yet. She'd been talking in her sleep. I instantly felt a pang of relief, realizing that she hadn't read my impure, perverted thoughts. From behind her closed eyelids, a tiny drop fell. And with barely an audible plop, it landed on my cheek. It was so very warm, and yet after only a fleeting moment, it went cold. Even Sena cried sometimes, I suppose. Now even I was starting to feel sad. Had something happened between her and her father? Hey. A little worried, I timidly called out to her. With a twitch, Sena's body started to stir. Her eyes gently opened. Hey. At point-blank range, our eyes met. The drowsy Sena stared at me. Her eyes were still sleepy. She didn't seem to be fully awake yet. Don't look. It's embarrassing. It didn't take long for Sena's face to instantly turn beet red. Her eyes shot open, and her gaze raced from side to side. Hey, calm down. What's going on here? Don't move. We'll be crushed by the rubble. Rubble? Explained to Sena how we'd been buried alive by the earthquake. Right. There were these violent tremors, and a large mountain fell from above, and... You saved me, didn't you? Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it? Though I didn't have a single clue as to how. Well, thanks. And I'm the one who's supposed to protect you. I never would have thought that I'd be the one getting saved. I thought you'd be a lot more helpless, but turns out you can even step up and be a man when you have to. Thank you. I would have never thought I'd get complimented like that in a million years. Must have been the first time in my entire life I could compliment. Granted, Seraton told me it's only amazing all the time, but still. Unfortunately, our situation doesn't look great, huh? Yeah, we're pressed up against each other. Idiot, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about how we've been buried alive. Sorry. Well, being pressed up against each other like this isn't great either. Try doing some with your Gigglomaniac powers. You should be able to, right? That might be difficult, but I'll do what I can. Nishijo, look into my eyes. What? Why? We have to establish mutual recognition between us. She just had me look into her eyes? Being squished together like this was already embarrassing enough, but doing that would completely smash any sense of reason I had left. I go, stop wasting time. I know you heard me. Look into my eyes. Urged on by Sena's voice, I reluctantly obeyed. I gazed into her eyes. Then those eyes turned directly toward me. Okay, yeah, this is really embarrassing. I never made eye contact with a girl for such a long time before. I never even looked people in the eye while talking to them in the first place, so I wasn't even close to comfortable with this. Making eye contact essentially meant that you were the only thing the other person was looking at. Right now, I was reflected in Sena's eyes, meaning I was the only thing she was looking at. I was monopolizing Sena's field of vision, and we were so close. Upon realizing that I couldn't... Gee, I need to stop these idiotic delusions. We were making eye contact. What if Sena were to see through me? You wouldn't normally be able to read someone's thoughts just by looking into their eyes, but Kazubi could, and Sena was a Gigglomaniac as well. I couldn't do this. Making eye contact with a girl was impossible. Stop looking away, Nishijo. Despite her saying that, Sena's gaze wasn't pointed in the right direction either. I can't do this. Oh, actually, I can't do it either. Huh? Being this close is embarrassing. Seeing Sena's stained beet red breathed some life back into me, actually. Where did all this moe come from? Was this girl not actually 3D? Say no. It's hot in here. His forehead, face, and even the nape of her neck were drenched in sweat. Without closer, no. The rubble bearing us had no openings. Was there even a way for air to pass through at all? If not, then we were going to run out of oxygen pretty soon. Upon thinking that, I realized that Sena's breathing had become really heavy. The rhythmic movement of her small chest on top of me had gone much faster than before. Are you suffocating? Shut up. It's just hot. Damn it, what was I supposed to take from that? Whatever, just use your giggle make powers, alright. Shouldn't you be able to make all this debris disappear like magic? Nishijo, can't you do something? I can't concentrate like this. What the hell you want about? Don't tell me you're going to start relying on me now. How did you expect me to do anything about this? Realizing a flower bed beneath the Ayase and saving you earlier were both just coincidences. It's not like I did any of it on purpose, let alone consciously. Don't rely on me. I'm supposed to rely on you, Sena. Also, please stop breathing all this warm air on me. It's actual torture. A drop of Sena's sweat fell into my mouth. It was salty. Yeah. It's verge of tears. My sense of reason was this close to. Hey! Nishijo. Sena's face was still red, but she seemed to be a lot more angry than she was before. I'll fucking kill you. Huh? What? All I had was taste. I can't kill me for that. Besides, it's your fault for letting it drop in my mouth. Taking advantage of this. How dare. In the middle of speaking, Sena buried her face in my chest, unable to bear the embarrassment. There's no way she had done it intentionally, but for me, that was the strongest blowout of anything so far. Suck it. Nope. Stop. Why is it the strangest one so far? Shit. Quickly realizing what she'd done, Sena pulled her head back. Oh, stop. What's happening? What's up? What the hell are you thinking about? Honestly shaking. Maybe she was just used to being the tough person in the room, so someone else taking control really left her flustered. Hey! Stop the goddamn delusions! Thank you.
I have no intention of returning to the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light.
That is truly most regrettable. I very much valued your skills as a scientist.
I believe took advantage of his more apt description. I believe in your words no longer. I'm fully aware that your role as founder is nothing more than another farce.
Did you not wish for the Divine Light's salvation as well?
I did wish for that once, but not anymore.
Then what exactly is it you desire?
Atonement through death.
Once one has come into contact with the Divine Light, they can no longer part from it. Even if you plan to distance yourself, the Divine Light will not abandon even the most estranged soul.
My reliance on the gods come to an end. As someone who's created something on the level of such a being, I have no right to cling to such beliefs.
Nishijo, wake up, Nishijo. The extremely pompous conversation between two unfamiliar men. Sena's hushed shouts jutted in between the two voices, causing me to open my eyes. Unsurprisingly, we were still squished together, enclosed in rubble with no way to escape.
You chose this future of your own volition, leaving the responsibility all upon you. That burden is too much for one man to bear, wouldn't you say? If the salvation of the Divine Light were to be bestowed upon you, you would be provided moderate relief.
Indeed, this is the future I chose. Under the Divine Light's guidance. Or rather, your guidance, Kuramochi Yudai.
Someone's here. You can hear them, can't you? I nodded in response. I hear the voices of two men. It seemed like some cosmic church of divine light randos. At the very least, it definitely wasn't a rescue party. It's him. And he's close. I vividly hear the sounds of Sena gritting her teeth.
Save your embellishments, Kuramochi Yudai. I refuse to fall victim to your silver tongue anymore.
That is most regrettable. However, despite your absence, no 2 has already been completed. All that remains is to transmit our will throughout the world.
Not our, but yours and Inohana Kozue's, correct? Kozo's.
Indeed, now that the third mel experiment has proven a success, Project Noah has now completed its trial phase.
Oh, I didn't even... Thermion joined the conversation. What the hell were they talking about? And where was it coming from? The fact that we could hear the voices meant they had to be at least somewhat close to us. Maybe there wasn't as much rubble on top of us as we might have thought. Sena slightly shifted. Her hand gripped my uniform tightly. So tightly it felt like she was enduring an intense pain. Her gaze pointed downward, but she didn't make eye contact with me.
On this day forth, those who shall control the world will fall from 300 to 2. Today marks the dawn of a new world order.
The field of vision was slightly overwhelmed with light. The small piece of rubble surrounding us began to crumble. Sena raised her head in shock. A hand reached toward us from above, peeking through the gap in the rubble.
Are you alright, Sena?
You! The hand that began to pull Sena up through the debris. As it did, the crevice beneath the rubble widened, and once her weight was lifted off me, I could finally move again. I'm free! I crawled out of the gap that had been made by Sena's body. It was a room in the Nozomi building, the very same room we'd been trapped in.
To think that you, just like Narose, would refuse our generous offer. Do you truly wish to live as livestock rather than on the ruling side?
Almost all the monitors that had been hanging from the ceiling had crashed down to the floor, leaving all their screens broken. Naturally, nothing was displayed on them anymore. Even the walls and various other chunks of the room were beginning to collapse. But all in all, the room wasn't anywhere near as bad as I expected it to be. I assumed we'd have been buried alive, but there wasn't even that much rubble. In hindsight, I probably could have escaped if I tried to. I felt like such an idiot for being too scared to move. Sena. Sena was facing a man I'd never seen before. He was wearing a ragged coat that complemented his clouded eyes. Overall, he looked like your typical homeless man. I had a feeling I had met him somewhere before, but I couldn't remember where. Maybe we'd pass each other in Shibuya at some other point. Aside from the two of them, there was no one else there. The voices of the two people who trapped us, the member of the House of Representatives and the Cosmic Church's founder, must have come from a speaker somewhere in the room.
Oh my, I see you have finally managed to reunite with your daughter, Tano. Oh, very touching.
Daughter? That man was Sena's father? I definitely heard Sena say the name Hatano before.
Please enjoy your touching reunion to the fullest. When you're satisfied, please take your seat. Enjoy the upheaval of the world as we know it. What?
Once we fully activate Noatsu, it will be possible for it to exert its influence over not only the people of Shibuya, but all humans who reside in this world. The network has already been fully constructed.
Suddenly the voice from the speaker was cut short. Then with a series of strange sounds... a series of strange sounds came through them, which meant their power had been cut off. Something was wrong. Just now, were those? Gunshots.
Gunshots.
After the gunshots came the raspy sounds of a man breathing raggedly.
Impossible! This can't be! I was to be the ruler of...
A final deathly scream. Then with a dull click, the audio was cut short once more, and the speaker fell silent. An oppressive silence had covered the room. What had just happened? Were they killed? Killed. By whom? I don't know. Two voices were being broadcast from somewhere else, and the audio was coming out of the speakers. So how close were they to the room we were in? At the very least, they had to be somewhere in the building. Taking that into consideration, the culprit who killed those two had to be close by. Let's get out of here. There could be crazed murder on the loose. And just who exactly is this crazed murderer? Why were those two killed? No, hold on. How do you know they were killed? Do you have proof?
Calm yourself, Sena.
I'm not talking to you. You heard the scream, right? They had to have been killed. Who killed them? Shogun? Wait, wasn't Shogun supposed to be a member of Nozomi? No, that was just an assumption on my part. There was no evidence proving he had anything to do with them.
Running away might prove slightly difficult. This building is on the verge of collapse. There are cracks appearing everywhere, and the walls are starting to warp inward. Immediately after I entered the room, the entrance is sealed off by rubble.
It's just as Satano had said. But I had this nagging feeling, one that told me that, considering the way the walls and everything around us had collapsed, this was way more debris than there should have been. I had a bad feeling about this. Well, it wasn't like I'd ever been to an abandoned building before, so I couldn't exactly judge the relationship between the way a room collapsed and the amount of rubble produced. The only thing I knew for sure was that we'd managed to escape being buried alive, but the fact that we were still locked in hadn't changed. We could destroy it with my D-sword. It finally occurred to me that that bizarre resonance sound from earlier had finally stopped. Maybe the earthquake had destroyed the device that had been the source. I think it was called a porter? If that was true, then Sena might be able to get us out of here.
I breathed a sigh of relief, then waited to hear Sena's brilliant plan of escape. However, she didn't take out her D-sword. She simply continued to glare at Hatano-san. What were you talking about with us two?
We were unable to come to a mutual understanding. A tale as old as time, wouldn't you say?
You couldn't come to a mutual understanding? Is that really true? Are you not still in contact with them? Where have you been? And what the hell have you been doing for these past 6 months? What the hell made you decide to appear now of all times? Have you been watching us from somewhere inside the building?
For this past 6 months, I've been roaming around Shibuya, longing for death. I had no intention of returning to the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light, nor Nozomi technology.
Sena gave a slight click of the tongue and turned toward me. What leads you to believe those two were killed? You know.
Those men have many enemies.
Hatano stepped in.
Anyone could have killed them, in truth.
Like I said before, I'm not talking to you. But there was a scream, and we heard a bunch of gunshots. Are you sure that's what happened? What if it was just an act? Were we even hearing their voices in real time? What was she talking about? Inside Japan's very extensive earthquake precautions, the head office of one of the biggest mega corporations in the country has taken this much damage. Needless to say, there must have been an incredibly large earthquake. So, why were those two yammering on and on about classified information to us through a speaker? And why now? Sam painstakingly enunciated each and every word, just to make sure I knew exactly what I was claiming. Classified information? What, like Noah 2 and the Third Melt? Not that I knew anything about them either way. It all felt pretty performative. Maybe they needed us to hear what they were saying. Why else would they leak classified information to us? Were those two actually there when they spoke to us? Could they have died before the earthquakes even occurred? Nishijo, ever since we infiltrated the building, we have yet to run into those two even a single time, correct? But they were talking on the monitor. On the monitor, yes. In reality, we never actually met them. They could easily be fake. And of course, everything with the speakers goes without saying. Something is wrong here. Very, very wrong, and Hatano, staring at me with wide eyes, interrupted Sena.
Nishijo Takumi-kun. Is that really you? I see. You are.
Dumb move. Sena, in response to being ignored, called out to Hatano-san in a sharp voice. I'll ask again. Why are you here?
I came to save you two. No, it might be more accurate to say, I came here to be killed.
Don't worry, I'll kill you very soon. But before that, answer my questions. How did you know that we were here?
I felt the strong call of a mind.
How could you, a man who isn't even a gigglomaniac, be able to feel that? And even then, only a fractional gigglomaniacs can detect vague, undefined delusions such as that. Someone like Kazubi, for example. Come to think of it, I wonder how she's doing. Was she caught up in the earthquake? I hope she's safe. Did you really feel something? Or did you know that we've been lured here the whole time? Well,
Calm yourself, Sena. Hatred is overtaking your heart.
Calm myself? As if I could calm down when the person I've been hunting down for so long is standing right before my very eyes.
You mustn't overthink things. Reality is not as complex as a conspiracy theory. It's far simpler.
He's showing up here now? It's way too convenient. You planned this from the very beginning, didn't you? Us being lured into this room and confined, the earthquake, you showing up here. Those performances and speeches ripped straight out of some conspiracy theory, and that inexplicable interruption. We don't even have proof that this room is in the Nozomi building at all. What if we were carried out of this building while we were unconscious and brought somewhere else? We could have replicated the interior from the room in Nozomi. The earthquake didn't actually occur, and the rubble scattered everywhere was artificially arranged. The more words Sena threw out, the more unsure I became on what to believe. I felt like the very foundation of knowledge I had always relied on was collapsing. Like it was being pulled apart piece by piece.
Jumping at shadows like this will be your downfall. Downfall. Hold yourself together, Sena.
Don't you dare call me that. I don't plan on having a nice conversation with you, so answer the goddamn question.
The earthquake did occur. That truth is absolute. All buildings in Shibuya are on the verge of collapse, and the casualties must be in the thousands.
Do you have a way to prove that?
Go on, try to destroy that wall. With your D-sword, of course.
Sena threw out her right hand as if she was shaking something off. Her D-sword materialized in an instant. Sena swung it down toward the wall without hesitation. The D-sword smoothly cleaved through the wall like a hot knife through butter. The wall broke down. Immediately after, a fierce, chilly wind blew through the room. The scenery from behind the destroyed wall was laid bare before us. And what we saw there was... Yep. Exactly as he claims. Shibuya, transformed into literal ruins of death. Just a few hours ago, I'd been crowded with people. Flashy videos were playing at an insane volume from various jumbotrons, and it was overflowing with glittering decorations, things all befitting of the City of Youth. But now almost all of the iconic buildings had collapsed, and those that had survived were either leaning in at a sharp incline or had violent cracks gradually eroding away at them. Not a single car remained on the road. The asphalt had caved in at multiple points, and had risen up at many others. Pitch black smoke billowed from numerous locations and disappeared into the blackened sky. That was Shibuya we saw from the top of the skyscraper. See, I had only been jumping at shadows, and I was no better. There was no mistaking it. We were still on the 31st floor of the Nozomi building, and an earthquake had occurred. There was no telling when the building we were in would collapse. If the building were to fall, I'd have no chance of surviving. It would end with me being crushed under endless tons of rubble. I could be buried for all eternity, with my body never being found. I need to get out as fast as humanly possible. Trembling violently, I've surveyed the room. Huh? My eyes instinctively honed in on an object. A monitor that had fallen on the floor. It doesn't make sense that a mere earthquake could cause this much damage. Was it Noah too?
Yes, it was the third melt. The final trial run of Noah 2.
Half the LCD screen was broken, so nothing was displayed on it. However, the remaining half was tenaciously staying lit up. I didn't think it'd been on when I looked earlier, but I wasn't completely sure. The third melt. Does that have anything to do with you?
I already told you. I've been running away from Nozomi for no less than 6 months now.
Not just Nozomi. You ran away from me, Mom, my little sister.
Yes, I admit it.
Only half listening to Sena Hatano's strained arguing, I crouched down in front of the monitor. There were letters on it. Text was being displayed. Takumi, are you seeing this? What? What the? A chat room? They said my name. Why? Why had they said my name? What do they mean, are you seeing this? The whole thing creeped me out. Who'd written it? Their handles seemed to be corrupted. How'd they know my name? How'd they know I was in this building, let alone this very room? Maybe it was Grimm? I never asked him before, but what if he was actually some crazy super hacker all along? Or maybe it was Shogun like usual. Was he reading my mind again, prepping to give me the next quest? The sight of Nanami covered in blood resurfaced in my mind. Right, Nanami was being imprisoned somewhere. If this was in any way related to Nanami, she could be killed if I didn't respond to this message. I crouched down to the keyboard that had fallen down near the monitor, then let out a single groan. I had no idea whether or not the keyboard was actually connected to the monitor. All I could do was pray that it worked. And so I pressed the N key. N. My input was reflected on the monitor. It seemed like I could use the keyboard to type in chat after all, under the temporary handled guest. I replied with N, i.e. no, since their message hadn't clarified what I was supposed to be seeing. What was I supposed to be seeing? Since I didn't know that yet, I couldn't answer Y, i.e. yes, until I knew more. Nanami's life could be at stake here, so I had to be even more careful than usual. You respond to our query, so it's safe to assume that you are seeing this. And then our message arrived. I'm grateful we were able to establish contact with you. We are the Committee of 300. What? What? Wait, so it wasn't Shogun. It was the Committee of 300. I heard that name over and over today. Those old guys that had supposedly been killed earlier, Kuramochi and Inohana, had both said they were part of the Committee of 300. What are you doing, Nishijo? Sam peeked over my shoulder at the monitor. What is that? I don't know. It called me by name. Sena, you two are being monitored by us. All three of you are. Nishijo Takumi, Aoi Sena, and Hatano Issei. Alarmed, both my gaze and Sena snapped to the ceiling. Were they watching us with security cameras? There were several things in the room that looked like cameras, but all of them had been destroyed by the earthquake, and therefore weren't working. The other monitors were completely silent too. Who the hell are you? We are the Committee of 300, as our introduction already provided. Bullshit. Can you prove that you're the Committee of 300? Nishijo, type that in. Huh? Okay. Before I could even start typing, another message appeared. You needn't type. You're being monitored in real time. However, not by traditional means. There are no surveillance cameras present in that room. The devices of your world are unnecessary, at least to... The devices of your world are unnecessary to us. Unnecessary, at least to us. To put it simply, understand that we possess the viewpoint of God, seeing all from a higher order or layer of being. There is no possible way for you to verify the system, nor even the concept. In a similar manner, we regrettably have no means by which to validate us as the Committee of 300 either. You simply will have to go by our word. What the hell? Is this an attack from Noah 2? Or could it be a delusionary attack from the Gigalomaniac? Nishijo, is it possible this person's Shogun? There's no way I can figure out with how little we've been given. I shook my head from side to side. To her, it probably looks like I was about to cry. Sena responded with an irritated click of her tongue. Could they be the crazed murderer from earlier? The one that killed Kuramochi and Inohana? Doubt it. The most likely case is that they're actually Kuramochi or Inohana themselves. They did say they were part of the committee after all. Sena proceeded to point the tip of her D-sword at Hatano-san. She one-handed a gigantic, viciously sharp sword with incredible ease. Or maybe you're the one behind everything.
I have no motive that would lead me to orchestrate this.
Squatting down to look at the monitor was tiring out my legs, and reading the text in the dark was equally taxing. To combat this, I shoved some debris off of a table and placed a monitor on top of it.
There could be a few of the members of the Committee 300 aside from Kuramochi and Inohana. There are 300 of them after all.
If they are who they say they are, that is. Only in TV and movies do you see the masterminds reveal themselves like this.
Whether or not they're really the committee should not be what we are focusing on here. The more pressing matter is whether or not this self-proclaimed member of the Committee of 300 is the one who killed Kuramochi and Inohana.
Indeed, we dispose of Inohana and Kuramochi. They're actually the culprit. So those two really were killed. They sought to betray us, you see. Of course, we have long been aware of this breach of faith. They were not disposed of because they were considered a threat, for the odds of their plan bearing fruit were null. It is simply necessary to eliminate programs that contain errors. This was merely some debugging, essentially.
So there is internal conflict among the committee members, you say? They may be contacting us from the same room Kuramochi and Inohana were monitoring us from.
But if that's true, why don't they just use the speakers?
I assume they don't want us to hear their voice. They don't want us to learn their true identity.
Does that mean it's someone we know?
The man writing this is being extremely cautious, although I suppose we cannot assume their sex.
Alright, well, what if they're Inohana and or Kuramochi, and everything that happened earlier was just an act?
Are you suggesting that those two had a falling out?
It's possible that, but it's also possible that they're both alive and they're both deceiving us.
If that's the case, do you have a hypothesis that answers why they would do such a thing?
If you didn't misunderstand, neither Kuramochi nor Inohana were members of the Committee of 300. They were merely under the impression that they were, and it was us who implanted this idea within them. They proved convenient pawns in our guise. The same can be said for all those involved in the Committee of 300 conspiracy theory. Us true members have yet to take the stage. Even if we were to consider doing so, that much is not possible, for we do not exist in your world.
If what you say is true, then what exactly are you? Are you implying that you're God?
It may be in our best interest to not argue with these people. Their intentions remain unclear as of now. You're only able to see their words, so it would be a simple task for them to weave in as much fake information as they please.
The advice was solid, but the text on the monitor kept appearing rapidly. I couldn't get a read on the guys behind the name handle or whatever. They knew a terrifying amount of information about us. Calling us God would be appropriate. We are the 300, each of us with our own assigned districts. We are those who administer your world. Our administration aims to erase errors and establish order. So that means... Right as I finished reading everything that I had written up until that point, an idea popped into my head. It was something I thought about many times before. You're the Game Masters? Game Masters. What's that supposed to mean? And yes, so there are people working for the developers, or in layman's terms, they're the people who control everything we do. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Rubbing her temples, a sour look crossed her face. Takami. Nishito Takami's explanation is accurate. We are the game masters who administer the progression of this MMORPG. You are all players, or perhaps NPCs.
Are you serious? Holy shit, it's happening. It's finally happening.
What did I just get? I got something a second ago. Conglomerate. Oh. NPC, non-player character. Theory I'd had delusions upon delusions, but had been all true all along. There was a person outside my reality controlling me, just like how I controlled Nightheart. Someone was controlling me in the same way. If you're real, then tell this person's controlling me. Remake my character right now, goddammit. And don't we show shit controlling me this time. Shut the monitor. I felt Sena's puzzled gaze land on my back. Why is this simultaneously like the most... Why is this somehow like the funniest ending somehow, while also being extremely dark? The reason we have established contact with you is because we have a request. If you agree to cooperate, we have prepared a cheat code as compensation.
What is happening? This is the wackiest ending right now.
Cheat code.
Oh shit.
Okay, so she's like an exploit.
And so if you can put the right code, you can boost a level 1 character all the way to level 15 minutes and
give yourself a super rare item with a 0.085% drop rate with no actual effort.
Hey, if I had cheat code, stop being such a weak photography.
I even become a real hero. You'll talk to 3-year-olds. Okay, calm down. We have 300 actually fucking gods, but like actually, this is awesome.
Do you really think that cheat codes actually exist? Apparently this person we're talking to is acting from higher order layer of being. But why would a godlike entity being use the same language and terminology that we do? This has to be a trap.
Unfortunately, your conjecture proves incorrect. I assure you our usage of familiar terms to you isn't fully intentional. The words we frequently make use of do not exist in your world. Cut the sophistry. Your belief or lack thereof lies with you. Choose not to believe us and we will resort to entertaining other methods. I believe you. I wanted to believe them. I didn't want to continue living in fear any longer. If I was able to get a power even stronger than Shogun's, I'd be able to live in peace. We are grateful for your cooperation, Nishito Takami. We would like you to eliminate an error for us. What you three know as Noah 2. It has the capability to severely disrupt the balance of the game, and in the worst case scenario, it may cause crashes or even wipe the game data entirely.
If you truly are a god, as you say, why is this not within your own power?
At the present time, Noah 2 has effectively forced your world into autistic mode. In other words, it accepts only minimal interference from us. The game master cannot directly intervene in the game. We are nothing more than your administrators in order... What is going on? This is... How is Sena getting the wackiest ending? This is weird. Sena? This is giving me a headache. I agree.
All this recent bullshit. You really can't
directly intervene. Then how exactly did you dispose of Kuramochi and Inohana? We have other cooperators. You may think of them as debuggers. However, none of them can hold the power necessary to
協力じゃ
short
な
no
くて、
to. For this, we require the
私たちを
cooperation of
利用
people
したいだけだ。
maniacs.
This isn't cooperation. You intend to use us.
Call it whatever you wish. We will not deny it. However, we are confident our interests align
それ
here.
は
That's
確か
true.
巧妙だな。
Very clever.
一連の書き
From
込み
this
を見て
conversation, you could reasonably infer that the
300
Committee of
人委員会
300 does exist, or that
実
does not
在してい
exist.
るとも。これが
It is also
ノ
possible
ア
that this is
2
an
による
attack from
攻
Noah
撃であ
2.
る可能性。
But isn't it true that Kuromochi and Inohana are going to betray the Committee of 300?
あいつら自身が
They said that
そう説明して
themselves.
たよ。
あの時
What
点
if the
から妄
delusionary
想
attack
に
had
よ
already
る攻
started
撃が
by
始
then?
まっていたとしてさっきも
I
言った
stand
だ
by
ろ
what I said before. We don't have a single shred of evidence that Inohana and Kuromochi talking through the monitored speaker were
一
actually
つもな
real.
い
Sena, you've been suspicious of everything since we got
セ
here.
ナは
この状況で
In a situation like this, the only thing you can trust is yourself.
世界は
The
全
entire
て
world
電
is
気
an
仕掛け
electronic device, and by simply manipulating electrical signals, you can easily fabricate what we perceive.
ここから見える
The view of the ruined Shibuya we can see from here.
こ
The
の瓦
rubble
礫だ
filling
ら
this
けの部屋
room.
も300 人委員
Messages
会を
from
名
the
乗る
people
存
claiming
在
to be
か
the
らの書き
Committee of
込みを
300.
今
The person I'm talking to right now, you, Nishijo, and
シェンshot a glance at Hatano-san.
この男です
even
よ
he could be as
偽
fake.
物かもしれないんだ
セナ
Sena.
If your mind is but an electronic device and your feelings electrical signals, then the hatred you feel toward your father must also be programmed in. This applies to human death as well. Therefore, you have no need to feel any more of the sadness you feel over the cruel deaths of your mother and younger sister. Do you deny this? Jesus Christ. Sena gritted her teeth. Her expression grew angrier and angrier.
これは妄
This
想
is a
だ
delusion.
私の
This is
心
an
へ
attack on
の
my
攻撃
mind.
だ
I won't be
惑わ
deceived.
されないぞ
Well, then here is our proposition. If you succeed in destroying Note 2, we shall revive your mother and sister. What?
セナ
Sena, do not be seduced by their
言葉に流
words.
される。
You're the one who said these messages could be a
この書
mental
き込みが
attack.
精神攻
But
でも
チートコードな
With the cheat code, it might be possible.
Come on.
I mean, they're gods, so
にしろ相手は神だし
all things that make up this world are electronic devices. You said so yourself, Aoi-Sena. If you were to examine
本当なのか？
electronic devices at a more conceptual level, you would find that they are composed merely of digital data. Concepts such as life and death are just more fabrications. Bringing a person back from death exactly as they were, with all their memories intact, would present no trouble at all. For us game masters, that is.
can you really do that?
判断を
Don't
誤
allow
る
your judgment to become further clouded.
お前は
They're
そう
only
信
telling
じ
you
た
what
い
you
だ
want
け
to
だ
hear. Reviving the dead is not
現
possible in
実に蘇
reality.
ることなど
うるさい
Shut up.
お
Shut
前
the
は
hell
黙っ
up.
てろ
心の負い目に
Exploring
つ
the
け込まれ
weakness in
て
your heart. Our opposition is
相手は
extremely
巧妙
clever.
だこいつは
They're
神など
not
ではな
God
い
nor anything of the sort.
今確
I've
信
now
した
fully concluded this. They're nothing more than a mere swindler.
神は自己完
God's
結した
existence
存在
must
で
be
なければならない
self-contained. It should
生死
have
の
no
概念その
knowledge
も
of
のを
the
持ち合わせ
concepts
てい
of
ない
life
し
and death.
理
You should
解
not
で
have
き
the
ない
capability to understand them.
そういう
黙れと言
I
ってる
told
だ
you,
ろ
shut the hell
お
up.
前の宗
I
教
asked
観
for
は
a
聞いてない
goddamn sermon.
Sena's D-sword once again found itself pointed at Hatana-san.
元はといえば
You
お
have
前
no
が
right
い
to
け
say
ないんだ
anything at all. If only you hadn't killed
母
Mom.
さんを殺しさえしなきゃ
その
I
償い
fully
はす
intend
る
to
つも
atone
り
for
だ
that. It makes no difference if you kill me.
私を
In
殺しても
truth,
構わ
I'd
ない
rather you did.
むしろだから
So please, do not be
母さんを蘇
seduced by the
らせよう
falsehood
など
of
と
being
いう
able to
虚
bring
言
her
を
back.
信じるな
そうやって
You
逃
running
げよう
away
と
is
す
the
る
real
のが
thing I
一番
can't
許せ
forgive.
ないんだ
For fuck's sake, now isn't the time for some father-daughter screaming match. Maybe I should just leave these two behind. Then I can go and take the cheat code for myself.
今決めた
I've made up my mind.
お
I
前
won't
は
kill
殺
you.
さない
I'll destroy Noah too.
Noah
Bring back
2
Mom, and
破
I'll
壊して
never let
母
you
さん
see
が
her
生き返
again.
ってもおそして一
You'll
生
regret what you did for the
後悔
rest of your
し続けろ
fucking life.
どこまでも
You
純
truly
粋だ
are
な
a pure soul, Sena.
セナ感情に
Driven
突き
by your
動かされ
emotions,
な
you
がら
continue to wish for this world of electronic devices. You're contradicting yourself.
すまない
Forgive me. It's my
私が
fault
お
you
前
ended
を
up
そう
like
させて
this.
しまった
父親
Don't try
面
and
を
act
す
like
る
a
な
father now.
今さら
After
そん
all
な顔
this
して
time,
も
even if you keep up the charade, I
私はお前
refuse
を
to
認め
accept
な
you.
いおい
Hey, you
私た
bastards
ちを見
watching
てい
us.
るお前
Sena looked toward the ceiling and shouted out.
チートコー
Tell
ド
me
の
how to
入
get
手
this cheat
方法
code.
を教えろ
Hitano-san had said nothing more. All he did was stand there with a sad look on his face. His shoulders sagged. Finally come to your senses. Chico's already been sent to your world. However, that being said, our ability to interfere freely has been inhibited. We are not able to place it where you are now. We must ask that you retrieve it for us. It is located underground in Shibuya Station. You'll find it in a coin locker near the ticket gate at the Fukutoshin line. It's been placed in locker 1009. How do we open it? Sena, you possess an IC card for public transportation, yes? The coin locker is the type of which uses an IC card to authenticate and give payment. The required data has already been sent to Sena's card. Wow, so this is how God operates. Very prepared.
あの
Excuse me, what form does the cheat code take?
どんな形をしてるの
That's something not even we know. Whatever I am present in your world that it has taken the form of is unimportant. Regardless of its form, once you obtain the code, the moment you fulfill a condition, the cheat code will activate. To fulfill a condition, you simply need to destroy the item it has taken the form of. The target node 2 is located directly above the coin locker. It can be found in the planetarium near the east entrance of Shibuya Station. Upon obtaining the cheat code, you must destroy the planetarium, and with that, everything will fall into place. We pray for your success. The monitor immediately went black. With only a dull click, the committee was gone, even though we hadn't touched a thing. I was overflowing with excitement. And my God, the person controlling me. The world turned out to be structured in a multi-layered fashion, and I was able to talk to someone on a higher layer. I could get a real-life cheat code. I could say farewell to my shitty life forever. I'd become invincible. Nobody, and I mean nobody, would be able to scare me anymore. Shogun, Yua, Nozomi technology would no longer be my enemies. I'd won. I'd won at life. I wanted to head for Shibuya Station immediately. I wanted to get my hands on the cheat code as soon as possible. But despite that, Sena continued to waste time. She kept her sword pointed at Tano-san and her head hung low. Sena, are you coming? Sena, hearing my call, let out a small sigh, then lowered her sword. Without so much as a glance at Hatano-san, she walked straight past me, and then she casually swung her D-sword. And with that, the rubble blocking her path was cleanly dispersed.
Equal.
Let's go. She spoke in a subdued voice, one that was far removed from the rage she had been showing only a moment prior. Okay! Hatano Isai watched his daughter and Nishijo Takumi leave until they fell out of sight, and once they did, he took a seat in the middle of the rubble. I wish to talk with God just a moment longer. As he became the last remaining person in the room, he said those words into the air. His daughter Sena had looked like she had something to tell him, but instead she had simply thrown a sharp glare his way, only to click her tongue, turn her head away, and leave without saying a word. Nothing had escaped Hatano's lips either.
Committee of 300. Are you still watching me?
He faced the silent, pitch-black monitor and called out to it. There was no response for a while, leaving Hatano to continue staring emptily at the monitor. Eventually, the screen roared back to life, displaying the chat log from before. Why? It responded with the why, meaning yes.
Why Sena Nishijo Takumi?
Shibuya in its current state, they were the gigamaniacs we had the highest likelihood of establishing contact with. That is all. There is no ulterior motive beyond that.
As a committee of 300, how precisely would you have defined this world? A game? Grounds for experiments? A farm for livestock?
The Worldwide Human Domestication Project is merely the delusion born of a certain selection of conspiracy theorists. As was stated before, we do not directly intervene in your world. The Worldwide Human Domestication Project, a term that would find its way into any discussion about the famous Committee of 300 conspiracy. So if this is to be believed, if we're believing the guy here being a member of the Committee of 300, then are they just saying like, yeah, we're gods, but we don't actually want to like enslave humanity? That's just part of the conspiracy theory thing to keep our existence like secret. Those who know of the conspiracy speculate that the Committee of 300 means to establish a one-world government to unify the world, and once they do, they shall guide the world through the creation of a new world order. Aside from a selection of chosen people, all of humanity will be subjected to semi-permanent brainwashing applied via a silent weapon, turning them into mindless slaves. Just like livestock, their flesh, milk, labor, children, and very lives shall endlessly be stolen away by the elite. Should this be realized, it would perhaps be humanity's cruelest, most systematic utopia of all. unknowingly having their will stolen from them and it being automated as livestock. The remains of humanity would be constantly exploited, all while continuing to live their lives in blissful ignorance. As they would have no way to know of their exploitation, they would never raise any objections nor rebel against their circumstances.
Even if the worldwide domestication project is a mere delusion, silent weapons are very much real. Noah 2 exists as irrefutable evidence of this fact.
As related to our current error, the error born from you, Nishijo Takumi and Narose Genichi, we are putting our best efforts into fixing this error.
So the world will once again be placed under your order, one where you will continue to exploit the general populace as mindless slaves.
As Hatano spoke, a horrifying possibility stemming from his own words came to him, and his brow furrowed.
Has the worldwide human domestication project already been completed?
You produce an interesting concept, but that is not quite the right way to put it. To correctly express it from the viewpoint of God, you were all already livestock from the moment of this world's inception. Nevertheless, this is nothing but a hypothetical.
Answer my original question. As a committee of 300, how precisely would you define this world? A game? Grounds for experiment? A farm for livestock?
In response to Hatano, they fell silent. The time has come.
The time for what?
The Committee of 300 must remain an entity of shadow, one that is spoken of only in conspiracy theories. Anyone who knows too much must be disposed of, much like Inohana and Kuramochi before you. None of you are an exception to this rule.
What do you mean by... Oh no. Sena and Nishijo Takumi.
You three became pawns the moment we established contact. Pawns fulfill the roles they are given, and nothing more. That is our rule. Damar abruptly went black. It was no different than a death sentence.
Sena.
Uh-oh. Clamping his teeth down on his lip, Hatano frantically stood up. If he left now, perhaps he would still be able to catch two of them before they reached Shibuya Station. He had to tell him it was a trap. He did not want to let his daughter die. After killing his wife and second daughter, she was the only family he had left. No matter how much hatred she held for him, all he wanted was for her to live. For this reason, Hatano ran. And yet in the end, he was not able to escape the Nozomi Technology building. For before he could, the sound of an explosion, combined with a furious vibration, ripped through the building. It was not collapsing due to the earthquake, however. The sound alone told him it was by the hand of a man. But knowing this did not change his fate. The ground beneath his feet collapsed, and as if the lid had been lifted off the cauldron of hell itself, the earth opened wide and swallowed up the insignificant existence that was Hatano Issei. What? What just happened to him? I mean, I know he's dead, but how? How is dead? Going on a walk through Shibuya finally helped things sink in. I finally came to terms with just how horrifying the earthquake that hit the city truly was. Not a single trace of the once dazzling city remained. The city was dead. Shibuya was now a city of death. Countless unmoving bodies littered the streets, some lying alone, others piled up on top of one another. Various sections of the main road were deeply stained with pools of blood. Nothing was alive. Everyone was dead. Everyone. Hatano-san had said something earlier about the casualties being in the thousands, and the sole cause of all of this suffering was Noah too. This wasn't a natural disaster. It wasn't even any kind of disaster at all. This was an atrocity. A massacre. Sena, who was just a few steps ahead of me, had an intense look of sorrow on her face. Hatano hadn't come with us. We had left him behind at the Nozomi Technology building. They were father and daughter, apparently, but they didn't really act like it. I felt like Sena had some sort of one-sided, intense hatred toward her father. They had mentioned Sena's mother and younger sister during their conversation. What happened between the two of them? Whatever it was, it must have been what led to Sena's heart and mind being broken. Despite me wondering that, I didn't plan on asking for some detailed account of what had happened or anything. Not that I knew how to in the first place. Besides, our number one priority at the moment was obtaining the cheat code. Once we had that, I wouldn't need Sena to protect me anymore. I'd be able to live on my own. No, we're about to die. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from behind me. Thinking it was another earthquake, I immediately got down on my hands and knees. but the ground wasn't what was shaking. Slowly and cautiously, I looked behind me, toward where the Nozomi main office we were just in should have been standing. Smoke was pouring into the sky. It looked like the end result of an erupting volcano, and the building that should have been there wasn't there. Oh god, had it collapsed? But Hatano-san was still in there. A small whimper escaped Sena's lips. She looked up at the smoke filling the sky in a daze.
父さん
Dad. After a moment, she noticed my gaze and quickly turned the other way. However, her shoulders continued to tremble. Damn it. If I knew this would happen, I would have killed him myself.
殺して
If I had just killed him then, Well,
だったらあの
we
人
can
も
just bring him back
生き
too.
返らせればいい
Once we get our hands on the cheat code, we could do that. There was no reason we couldn't, as long as we believed what they were saying. Bringing someone back to life,
生き返らせ
just
る
to
の
kill them.
非効率
That's
的だな
counterintuitive. Sena laughed to herself, but her voice was muffled by her tears. I didn't really know what to say to her, so I just hung my head. Sena felt back her tears for a while, but eventually, as she made up her mind about something, she started moving forward once again. And now, not a single tear remained on her face. I hurriedly followed after her. So we're about to die according to Hatano. Underground Shibuya Station was home to both the Hanzomon line and the newly constructed Fukutoshin line, which had a far more complicated structure to it. There was also a Ginza line platform located 2 floors above ground, but it was still being treated as a subway service. Ask pretty much anyone, and they'd tell you the place was pretty much a dungeon. And not only that, but the earthquake had caused all stairways leading underground to collapse, and now they were all buried in rubble. Sam had been able to use her D-sword to blast away the rubble and clear a path for us, so it hadn't posed much of a problem. But due to the lack of proper lighting, finding the right coin locker had been taking a lot more time than expected. If it weren't enough, the air filtration system had stopped, leaving the air disgusting and filled with dust. My coughing refused to stop, to the point where I felt like I was going to die, and the stench of death wafting off the scattered corpses didn't help either. What are we going to find in this freaking
こ
locker?
れか
As I said, Sena finally located the coin locker, which was somehow standing tall with no signs of noticeable damage. To our astonishment and subsequent relief, the locker still had power running to it, something that was made clear by the bright glow of the IC card reader. Please make a selection was displayed on the screen. Retrieve and deposit were the only 2 options available.
本当に
Could there really be a
こ
cheat
んな
code in
何の
such an
変哲
ordinary
もないロッ
locker?
カーにチー
The
トコ
locker
ー
had
ド
been
が
there
置いて
since
ある
before
の
the earthquake. A whole bunch of customers would have passed through here, but right before us. On a normal day, no one would have paid it any mind. Just how many people actually use lockers like these in the first place? I couldn't imagine there'd be that many. Upon closer inspection, it occurred to me that almost all the other lockers were buried in rubble. And behind that single closed door was something beyond imagination. Urban legends like that have been floating around for decades. It wasn't especially strange or anything like that. It was fairly grounded in reality, actually. A small container that you could find very easily throughout your ordinary life, housing something extraordinary. That was the idea behind it. When I pushed the retrieve button, a message popped up saying, "Please scan your card."
箱の中に
What we
残っ
find
てい
there?
るのは
Will it give us hope
Kiboka.
or despair?
あるいは絶
Sena
望
dug out her IC card from her pocket and slowly approached the screen. I'm betting despair. With an electronic beep, the sound of the lock releasing came from the locker. The sound echoed ominously throughout the dead silent underground. Sena and I stood anchored to the spot, and then we both checked our surroundings. We had at last come face to face with the cheat code. What form it'd take, neither of us knew. Please don't let it be something gross or anything gory. Personally, I've had the choice. I want it to be a Seraton figure. Yeah, that was the best possible outcome. Sena wiped off the sweat beading on her brow.
1009
It was 1009,
番
wasn't
だ
it?
ったな
Oh boy. The locker we were looking at was the second from the left and third from the top. The door was fairly big, and it had 1009 written on it. The locker was ever so slightly ajar. All we could see inside that slight gap was uncertain, unending darkness. Sena and I stared at the locker, frozen in place. What is in it? You open it. Even though she didn't say it out loud, I could feel Sena telling me that. Granted, I was doing the same thing, so we were both equally cowardly. Come on, you do it, I told her inside my head. I thought about letting a game of rock, paper, scissors make the decision for us, but it wasn't the time to mess around like that. Sena, you
セナが
should open it, was what I was going to say, but I was interrupted.
開けろ
Open it,
西条
Nishija. Sena took a step back and readied her sword.
もしもの
I'll
場合
stand
は
guard, just in case.
私が援護する
What the hell do you mean, just in case?
急げ
Hurry up. I felt like she was going to stick me with the tip of her sword at any second now. My throat went dry from the anxiety, but my recently unearthed hope resurfaced once again. If I surpass this trial, I can become a hero. With this adage etched upon my heart, I summoned all my remaining courage. I placed my hand on the half-open locker door. Do I open it?
あ
Yeah. I slowly opened the door. It opened easier than I expected. Inside, I found...
なんだ
What
これは
is that? I think I know exactly what that is. Is this a coin locker, baby? Sena and I peeked into the locker at a loss for words. A white bundle of cloth? It was bigger than I expected. But right when I reached out to touch it... Yep, it's a coin locker, baby. What? I pulled my hand back in a panic at the son's voice. It's... No way, it's
赤ちゃ
a
ん
baby. A live baby had been in the locker. I mean, it had been decades since then, but abandoned children being found in coin lockers had been a fairly large social issue at one point. But for it to be happening now? Wait, that didn't matter right now. Where was the cheat code? I double-checked the locker number. It was unmistakably 1009, so that must have been... Stanley gently picked it up as it continued to wail, handling it like a fragile object. It would fall to pieces if she let it go. The baby's cries grew louder and louder. Sena grimaced as her body stiffened and locked in place. She looked at me with pleading eyes. Nishijo,
西条
help.
どうしたら
What am I supposed
いい
to
んだ
do? What do you want me to do? Why ask me? No, you idiot.
死ね
Burn in hell. What is this ending? Her glare pierced through me. Has she overheard my delusion just now?
多分こ
That
の赤ちゃ
baby
んが
is probably the
チート
cheat
コード
code.
だよ
I mean, if we thought about what they said earlier. What am I supposed to use this for? Swing the baby like a damn sword? If the baby was a cheat code, it wouldn't activate unless we destroyed it. Destroy it. In other words, kill it. Oh, great. We have to kill the child. I went silent, and Sena glared daggers at me. She shielded the baby with her arms.
できない
We can't.
できるわ
There's
け
no
ない
way
だ
how
ろ
we can do that.
あの地震
I
を
survived the earthquake all alone in a dark, cramped place like this.
たった一人
But
So
it's
what-
cheat code.
チー
It
ト
only
コード
appeared here after the earthquake.
地震それは人
It isn't
間じゃな
human.
い
It just looks like one.
そう見えてる
あの自称
That's only if
300
you
人
believe
委員
what the
会の言葉を
self-proclaimed
信じれば
Committee of 300 said.
もし違
What
っ
if they
た
were
ら
lying?
あるいは
What if this baby had been left here
元々ここに置
originally
き去
and
りに
those
され
people
ていた
just
この子
embedded
に
the cheat code
後
into
から
them?
チートコードだけ埋め込んだかもしれ
I
ないん
heard
だ
of
ぞ
Santa's horrifically menacing look. Even so, I frantically shot back my rebuttal without looking her in the eye.
だ
But
って
it's not we have much of a choice
しょ
here.
うがないじゃないか
If we don't destroy it, the baby, the cheat
トが
won't... If I lost the Santa here, I'd end up losing the cheat code and stay an otaku freak for the rest of my miserable life.
この子に
Just feel them,
触ってみろ
Nishijo.
西
Feel the
条
warmth coming off of
この
them.
子のぬくもりをこんな
Are
小
you
さい
really
子
capable of
お
killing
前
a
は
small
殺せる
child?
のか
Of course I can't. I'm completely harmless. That's why you need to do it, Sena. But I couldn't actually say any of that.
セナは
You're
矛盾してる
contradicting yourself.
ここに来るまで
You
は
were so motivated
やる
before
気
we
満
got
々だ
here.
ったじゃないか世界
The
は
world is all
で
just
き
an
ただけなんで
electronic
しょ
device, right?
だったら
That means
そ
that
その
baby's
子も
just a
だったら
shell,
人
a
間だろ
doll.
でも
But they're
泣いてる
crying. Sena gently embraced the baby. She had such a tender and loving expression on her face. I couldn't believe she was the same ill-tempered girl from before.
この子は
The baby. They're crying,
今泣い
Nishijo.
てるんだ西条
She was a total mess. Had Sena just been just a complete fucking schizo all along?
シードを発動
We
さ
must
せて
destroy the activated Note 2 with the
壊
cheat.
さなきゃ
If we
君
don't,
の
then
家
we
族だ
can't
って
bring back your
生き返
family.
らないぞ。なんで
Why are you
ため
hesitating
らうんだ
now?
よ。
この子は
Because
生きて
they're
いるから
alive.
だ殺せない
I can't kill them.
私には
I can't.
だったら自分が殺してあげ
Well
る
then, how about I lend a hand?
Nope.
A thunderous roar. Unsure what had happened, I reflexively crouched down. Staying like that, I took a look around me and spotted a single silhouette standing outside the Fukutoshin line ticket gate. They were gripping something that looked like a gun, and they were pointing it in our direction. Sena croaked. When I looked over at her, I saw her hands covered in blood. But it wasn't hers. It was coming from the baby she was cradling. The white towel the baby was wrapped up in was turning crimson. They're dead.
死んじゃ
It happened again. I couldn't do
う
anything.
私は見殺し
Sena's entire body trembled violently.
Wowee, my awesome shooting skills never let me down.
The man continued to walk toward us with the most casual smile on his face. On his back, the man wore a rucksack that clashed heavily with his suit.
What are you two talking about down here? Oh, while I'm at it, thinking of it. What was up with the baby? Wait, don't tell me. Was that your secret love child? Did you do it? Man, high schoolers these days. But man, none of that really matters. I came here to take care of you two. If we let you two asswipes near a Note 2, you'll start causing an awful lot of trouble.
Is he related to Nozomi? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. He was carrying a gun. Normal people don't carry guns. He was gonna kill us. We had to run.
Well then, guess I'll start by taking care of the hyper dangerous spree killer hiding in this high school girl's body.
No! The man raised his gun and pointed directly at Sena, but she didn't react at all. She is still clutching the baby. She had broken down in sobs. What do I do? We've got the cheat code now. But what do I do? I should be invincible now. There's no way I can protect Sena. If I'm invincible, then I can be reckless and stupid and be perfectly fine. Nishijo? I shielded Sena. A fierce pain exploded in my chest, followed by a burning heat that felt like I had caught on fire. My uniform was stained in blood. I had been shot.
That was awesome, Nishijo Takumi kid. Ruin your life on the line protects a chick. Really are a shining example for all us guys out there. But how much longer can you keep it up?
Each time a gunshot ripped through the air, another bullet opened a hole in my body. My blood splattered everywhere. The pain eroded my nerves. Sena was still frozen in place, looking at me with tears in her eyes as she cradled the baby. Over half the white towel was now covered in a deep shade of red. I could no longer tell if that blood was mine or the baby's. Nishijo, you're bleeding. You don't stop, you'll... Oh, use a cheat code. But what do I do? This wasn't good. I was gonna lose consciousness. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. I never has to go through pain like this. With the cheat code, I should be invincible. If it's activated, I'm gonna die. I feel him getting closer to me. I could sense a sinister bloodlust overflowing from him. Something cold and solid was pushed to my back. I felt like my wounds were being grilled over hot coals as the cold sensation clawed through them.
Well, aren't you a trooper? It ends here with one point blank and bang to the heart. Pretty sure not even a gigalomaniac can survive that one.
Hurry! Sena only continued to cry. This was it. After all that grinding to get the cheat code, none of it mattered in the end.
Burn in hell, you little shit.
The sensation on my back suddenly disappeared. I thought I'd been shot, but it wasn't a gunshot I'd heard. It was the sound of the air itself shaking.
My arm!
White feathers shimmered and danced through the air, but we were underground. There shouldn't have been any birds. Despite my consciousness turning foggy and the pain ripping through my entire body, I slowly managed to turn around. And there I saw... Amy? Taku. Clasped in her hands was a sword so elegant, so beautiful, yet its form was unendingly sinister. I'd never seen anything like it. It was Remy. Remy, who had disappeared on me before, was here. She looked at me with a smile filled with sorrow. A large quantity of blood poured from the man's arm. Everything from the elbow down had been severed. The hand holding the gun rolled around on the ground. Had Remy done that?
You bitch! How dare you? With all the horrible things you did to Nachan, this is nothing.
Remy. Remy avoided my dumbfounded gaze. She simply stood in front of the man, shielding us.
Get out of here, now. I gotta gist what's going on. I say it, Taku. Destroy Noah too.
That sharp voice brought me back to my senses. When I tried to move my body, even just a little, I was tortured by unrelenting pain. I wanted to collapse on the spot. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to think. But most of all, I didn't want to die. My consciousness was fading. I was fully aware of the blood flowing out of the wounds covering my entire body. Despair and fear of death threatened to overwhelm me. But I fought them back and held onto Sena's shoulders. Let's go. We still can.
I'm sorry, Nishijo. You shielded me. And now you're...
Sena's eyes were clouded with tears. It's the first time I'd ever seen her crying face. I guess even level-headed women like Sena cried sometimes. I noticed something else as I held her shoulders. Her body was incredibly frail. I was sure that wasn't unique to Sena. Probably applied to all our hero girls, really. Her body was slender as well, something guys also didn't share. On a normal day, she exuded an aura of confidence, arrogance, and so much overwhelming vigor. It felt like she could crush me with that. But at the end of the day, she really was still a girl. You'll be alright. Don't cry, Sena. If we just use the cheat code, it'll heal all these wounds in an instant. It has to. Believing that, I grit my teeth and walked forward. Behind me, I heard the sound of a strange mechanical sound and a shrieking resonance entangling with one another. But I refused to look back anymore. We made it above ground. A trail of blood marked the path we walked. I had lost a lot of blood. The intense heat I'd been feeling in my wounds had been replaced with an unbearable chill. No matter how much I tried to keep it under control, my body kept violently shivering. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering. Looking up, I saw the planetarium standing before us. But the moment I did, I realized something was off. The surrounding buildings had almost entirely collapsed, and the ones that were still standing were covered in cracks and fissures. And yet, the planetarium was completely intact. Not only that, but I thought the building was supposed to have been demolished years ago. Why had it stood tall in front of me? Why? Why hadn't I realized this until now? Why hadn't I questioned it earlier? Was it because of some Gigalomaniac's power? Or was it Noah 2's doing? At any rate, the reason I noticed this must have been because of the cheat code. Now we just need to activate it, and then we should be able to destroy the planetarium. Without me supporting her any longer, Sena fell to her knees. She was still heartbroken. Sena. Use the cheat. Even talking was agonizing now. Sena looked back and forth between me and the baby, making her look like she was shaking her head no. But all she did was tremble. I was running out of time. My vision was going blurry.
If we didn't activate the cheat code, I was gonna die.
Shijo, just hold on.
師匠
This, I can't.
こんなのって死なない
Don't die. I'm begging you.
な
Hey, Nishijo,
師匠
the world isn't an electronic device.
電気時間私は
I
ただ
just convinced myself that it was.
思い込み母さん
I
と
couldn't save my mother and sister, and because of that, I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't forgive myself for feeling sick, for vomiting. I
悪
couldn't.
いと吐いてしまって
I didn't want to believe they died or that Dad did it. I wanted to get rid of all my emotions. Forever.
信じたく
I couldn't.
だけど
I felt nothing but hatred toward Dad. I
ど
felt
うや
nothing
った
but
って
sadness
父
toward
さんを
Mom and my
憎んで
sister
しまう
death.
し母さん
I
や
couldn't
妹の
forgive
死んだこと
myself.
が悲しいしこの子
I don't want to let this
死
baby
なせたくない
die.
んだ
Damn it. I couldn't rely on Sena anymore. I had to do it on my own somehow. I reached out my hand to the bloodstained baby Sena was cradling. Give
かして
it to me.
それを
Sena refused to let go.
You can't, Ichijo, stop!
It's already dead.
死んでるよ
Taking charge, I wrestled Sena's hands away as she looked at me in horror and forcefully grabbed the baby. She broke down crying. Ignoring her wails, I clutched the baby. Cheat code. Activate. Lend me your power. The D-sword. Suddenly I noticed it. A strange color, shrouded in faint light. A shining sword was laying at my feet. A D-sword. Forgetting all about the pain, I took hold of it. Despite being so long and gigantic, it was shockingly light. It was almost like I was holding nothing but thin air. I now know for sure. This was a real D-sword. It was no fake. Hot damn, cheat code. To think I finally got my hands on a D-sword this easily after struggling to get one for so long. Summoning all my remaining energy, I stood up. My wounds hadn't healed, but I was invincible now. Wounds this bad just took a minute to heal, that's all. Say was utterly useless now. I destroyed Noah 2 myself. I felt power overflowing from deep within, the very core of my body. It felt like there wasn't anything I couldn't do. I had obtained a power rivaling that of God himself. I brandished my sword. My target was the planetarium, illuminated ominously by the surrounding light. I'll destroy you.
これで
This is the end.
終わりに
A gunshot echoed throughout the air. Blood spewed from my chest. Soon after, I was hit with an intense pain. For a moment, I stopped breathing. My vision went black. I had an awful feeling writhing in the depths of my throat, and the taste of blood spread throughout my mouth as I coughed violently. That guy familiar. Had he shot me again? Had Remy failed to hold him off? I looked around, only to be absolutely astonished by what I saw. There were tons of people, all crowded around me and Sena. They all had dead eyes. They all were holding guns, and they were all aimed at me. Every single one of them was whispering something.
信仰の救
May
い
the
あ
divine light save us.
信仰
May
の
the
救い
divine
あ
light save us.
信仰
May
の
the
救
divine
い
light
あれ
save us. May
信
the
仰
divine
の
light
救い
save
あれ
us.
信仰の救い
May
あ
the
れ
divine light save us.
信仰の
May the
救い
divine
あれ
light save us.
セナ
Sena, get down! They all fired in unison. Countless lead bullets penetrated my body, boring out my flesh, slicing through my bones. I was assaulted by impact after impact. My body danced around by an order not my own, just like a marionette. I felt the pain stabbed at my consciousness. It felt like I was going to pass out. Even still, I desperately kept standing.
My D-sword was still raised high, held aloft in one of my hands. I'll destroy it. I prayed. I'll destroy Noah too. No matter how desperate my body is, I won't die. I can't die. I swung down. The D-sword drew a trail of red light. A brilliant flash burst into the night sky. The blade of light tore through the endless night and descended down upon the planetarian dome below. Only to be deflected by some unseen force.
嘘で
No
しょ
way. It was like there had been some sort of invisible wall. The light emitted by the D-sword was refracted, and dispersed. Silence. Sena, me, and the people who'd been shooting at me. We all simply stared, dumbfounded. Even with the cheat, it didn't work? Was Snow too indestructible? I try again. I couldn't let it end like this. I coughed up blood. Greasy sweat stung at my eyes. I could barely feel the pain anymore. My senses were already starting to disappear. My nerves might have been paralyzed. One more swing. I'm strong. I'm the strongest in the world. My strength stat should be so high it should absolutely OP. So I just need one more swing. I raised my sword overhead.
信仰の救いあれ
Hey, divine light, save us! Along with the woman's scream, they fired wildly once again.
西
Sena covered my body with hers. I guess Sena had saved me this time. Sena?
私も
I'll help
手
too.
伝う
I'll help you. Sena tightly, ever so tightly embraced my blood-soaked body. She grasped the hand I held my D-sword with. Sena's body was so warm. Hell, it was closer to hot. It must have been the heat of her blood, drawn out by the gunshot wounds she'd just suffered now. The heat of the pulse of life that ran through her body.
Your
resolve. I understand it now.
怖そう
Let's destroy it.
その子の
The baby too.
怖そう
Let's destroy it.
二人で
The two of us. With our
力を
power
合わせ
combined.
てお前だけ
I won't let you die.
死なせないお前だけ
I won't let you do anything
無
rash.
茶させない私と
You
お前
and I. Our fates are
運命
intertwined.
共同体だずっ
We'll always be
と
together.
一緒だ
When we die,
死ぬ
when we
時
fight, we'll always be together.
もう
Let's break this chain of
こ
misery
んな
already.
悲しみの霊復活とか
Who cares about bringing back the
そ
dead?
んなの自然
We
の
shouldn't
摂
go
理に
against the
合わ
natural
せる
order of things. I just...
もう
I don't want to see any hatred or sorrow anymore.
悲しみもこんな世
I
界
don't want to see the world like this.
見たくないお前が
I
傷つ
don't
く
want to see you hurt anymore.
だから
So, let's destroy it. Together.
あの
The source of
全
everything.
ての元凶を
Sena's voice rang throughout my fading consciousness. So she had finally come to her senses, huh? Completely exhausted and covered in tears, she shielded and talked frequently. And now she was covered in blood. We were both dyed a deep crimson. But I really did feel her passion. Her voice really did reach me. Together we raised the D-sword high. I could still hear gunshots firing around us. But that wouldn't stop us anymore. My power was overflowing more than ever before. I felt a strong life force gushing out of Sena. With this godly power, we would destroy the machine that rivaled God on high. This time for sure we would...
行くぞ
Let's do it. Now,
Nishijo.
Nishijo. I nodded. Together. With Sena. swung the D-sword down with all of her strength. And right as we did, a flash of light burst forth. A flash of light that tore the very world asunder. A red light that ripped the night sky in two. A red blade that perhaps might even reach the moon. It blew away everything, turning it all to dust. Together with the invisible barrier surrounding Noah 2, the planetarium was reduced to ashes. The massive impact and shockwave burst throughout the city. It felt like my body was going to be torn apart. The people standing around us were blown away. Even so, Sena and I held each other upright. We both clutched the baby in our arms, shielding it. We used every last drop of power we had left. We didn't think about what came next. As long as we had the cheat code, our wounds would heal. So right now, all we needed to do was destroy Noah 2. With all our heart and soul. We let our power erupt. The sounds dissipated, and the light along with it. In the center of that ruined city of death, Sena and I stood tall. Sena clung to my body. I leaned against hers. And between us, we embraced the bloody baby. I couldn't walk another step. I couldn't make the slightest movement. I didn't have an ounce of strength left.
も
It's okay now.
ういいんだ。悲し
It
いけど
hurts, but it's okay now.
もう死んだ
Bring the
人
dead
を
back
生
to
き
life.
返らせるのなん
It's
て
just egocentric.
エゴでチートコー
Let's
ドを
return the cheat code.
返
I
す
felt the same way. And because we were alive, we had to live on for the sake of those who had died. I'm sorry. Sena softly and gently embraced the bloody baby.
ごめん
I'm so sorry.
死なせ
I'm
てしまっ
sorry for letting you die. Sena cried a lot today. But compared to the usual girl who glared at everyone and everything, the girl whose weakness was on display right now was far more beautiful. Sena's flowing tears were so very beautiful. As her thoughts flowed through my mind, I looked up toward the night sky.
That might just have been the most wild ending so far. Jeez, a pizza. So, yet another ending down, and so did they die? I don't actually, it doesn't sound like they did. So was the baby actually a genuine cheat code? Were they actually invincible? But then they gave up the invincibility because they had to keep living on? I'm confused. Maybe I'm the stupid one. Then again, that entire section could have just been a delusion. Like in reality, we died a long time ago. Back when the rubble fell on us, we probably could have been dead from then. This is just all just Takami's delusion of before he dies. At this point, nothing would surprise me with this game. Listen, after the stuff I've seen so far, I can't really be surprised by much. Actually, I can, but I'm going to pretend I can't. It's funnier that way. But yeah, that's another ending down. Sena's ending complete. So that just leaves two endings. The Remy ending, and then I'm not gonna call it the true ending because I don't know if it is. I would like to call it the true ending, but because I don't know if it is or not, because the reason I say I don't know if it is or not is because of, well, I said Steingate's ending was the true ending, and yet we saw how that game's, you know what I mean. It's like the true ending of Steins, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is, I'm not calling it the true ending in this game. I'm gonna call it the final ending. Because it's the only one, it's only obtainable by getting every other ending, so it has to always be the final ending you get. That's what I'm going to call it. It's the final ending, and that's that. Anyway, yeah, that was wild. It was a lot wackier than I would have expected for Sena, of all people, gonna be honest. Not bad, just, wow, wild. Definitely an ending. I liked it, though. But it does make me scared about what Remy's is going to be. I feel like the final ending's going to be what wraps up everything into one tiny, neat little bow, but I don't know. I just think Remy's ending is going to probably be the most psychologically depressing. But we'll just have to figure that out later. For now, go ahead and... clicky, clicky.
I'm happy to report that all errors have been eliminated. I've confirmed the disposal of Noah 2 and Norosei Genichi. The original Nishijo Takumi has been secured, although he's definitely knocking on heaven's door. Just as planned, after completing their mission, both the copy of Nishijo Takumi as well as Hatano Sena died. Oh, great. We'll continue our investigations, but neither Satano Sena nor Nishijo Takumi are likely to have caused any errors. And isn't that just the bee's knees? Less work for me, after all. Oh, right, before I forget. I decided to take a stroll around the premises, and while I was at it, I took it upon myself to take care of those Cosmic Church of Divine Light followers as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that Sakihara Rimi was able to escape. Well, I can't see her posing any real threat to us anyhow. The schedule for the Worldwide Human Domestication Project is going to need a few slight adjustments. However, I believe that the series of errors that came from these events can be restored and put to future use in the project. As a result, the community of 300 hasn't suffered a single loss. Yes, understood. I'll put a stop to my debugging duties for now. So from this point forward, I'll go back to my role as a surveillant. Oh? The baby's still alive. So we do have an error on our hands then. Did those two give it life? Suppose I'll just pretend I didn't see it. I have a husband to help, and I'm not exactly wonderful with kids. Wait. How do I even get my hands on milk for Shibuya like this? Wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. That wasn't who I thought it was it? No. Deus Ex Machina. That wasn't who I thought it was speaking, was it? Because that's wild if it is. That wasn't Mimose, was it? No, of course not. That wasn't Mimose. Gladiolus. This bifurcated blade represents Sena's own fragile spirit. Despite its intimidating, aggressive design, the sword is actually quite fragile in structure due to it being split into two sections. Of course, normal laws of physics do not apply to these swords, so in reality, it's not fragile at all. God. Anyways, we're gonna end here for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Peace.